Hey man, welcome everybody back to the channel, man. I appreciate everybody for joining us. I got my man's here, Andre White. Me and Andre actually went to high school together. So 30 years go back a good amount of
Yeah,
time. I wanted to invite him on to have a conversation. You know how it is on social media. You just be running into people. You see people you ain't seen in a long time. You're like, oh, okay, let's see, and I started watching this content and I was like, this is interesting. So I wanted to have him on to have a conversation. So you can introduce yourself, tell us what's going on with you.
yeah. So basically, man, like Prince said, man, Andre White,
Hmm.
Long Beach, California. It's like I said, 30 years, man. When you put it like that, man, we getting old, brother.
Yeah,
Hey, man, we
man.
look good. We're looking good.
Yep.
We're aging well,
Holding
so
it
that's a
together.
blessing. Holding it together,
That's
man.
the only thing that matter.
Yeah. We in that category now. 30
Yep.
years, like, but
Yeah.
uh, yeah, man, it's good. And just like I said, so I live in Texas now, man, and
Nice.
families, kids. Like I said, looking forward to building my career, the organization I'm with now, and like being an entrepreneur. So I'm very, very, extremely grateful for that. In regards to
Nice.
my platform, man, for me, it's about improving the relationship dynamics between men and women, and I
Mhm.
think that's and I think each side has to get a fair amount of praise and a fair amount
Work.
of critique, challenge. I cheer you on and challenge you. I think it has to come from both sides, man. I operate from the premise of this when it comes to relationships. Generally speaking, if two people are involved, two people are at fault. There are very few problems that are just one sided. And so, like I said, so my posts have more recently been challenging the ladies, and so I've gotten some pushback on some things. But like I
Mhm.
said, I try to keep it balanced. I do keep it balanced, and like I said, so my platform is just to improve the relationship dynamics between men and women. That's what I'm passionate about.
Bet. I respect that. So I came across, like I said, I came across some pretty much. I watched all of his videos. He don't have that many right now. You know what I'm saying? He just
Yeah.
started posting on TikTok. So I think he got like nine or something like that. I
Yep.
watched them all.
About 10 or 12. Yeah.
Yep. So I found one that I thought was a good like jumping off point. I would ask you, so what do you think? Well, we get into it. I was gonna ask you, what do you think like like are you familiar with the idea of the patriarchy?
I kind of figured you were going to ask me that tonight too, and I am. I
Mhm.
am. So to answer your question, I'm familiar with how it's been presented. And I think it's fair to say that when most people present the idea of the patriarchy, it's presented in a way that's negative. It's the way I've heard it, at least conveyed as chauvinistic, abusive, toxic towards women. Am I an expert on the patriarchy and what? And no, but I would
Yeah.
ask this question now that I've answered yours. I would ask this question: what is the philosophical premise of the patriarchy from your perspective?
Yeah.
And not even, and I'll say this, Prince, not even that, not just from your perspective, as it's defined in mainstream society, culture,
Yeah.
media. Like, what is the philosophical premise of the patriarchy? I would
Yeah.
ask that. I heard different sides. I've heard some people say it ain't a bad thing, and then but the majority of people feel like it's absolutely toxic and it's horrific and it's, yeah. So that's what I would ask.
Yeah, it is. That's a good question. So, yeah, so the definition of the patriarchy would be a system. There's two parts of it, right? So there's a part of it where um, the lineage is tracked through men, right? So the father, the paternal parent, right? So it would be traced through men. So that's why like your sons would have your last name, my sons have my last name. That's how you trace a lineage. That's one part of
Right.
the patriarchy. And then the other part of the patriarchy, which is the most important part, is the system that basically puts all the power in the hands of men and largely excludes women and children and feminine presenting people from any position of power. Right. So it's essentially racism. Right. Think about it like that way. It's like asking, like, is racism good? Like, what parts of racism are good? There's no parts of racism that are good. Right. So the whole system of the patriarchy is meant to exclude women from power and to hoard power so that men can have it.
Meant to exclude women from power
Mhm.
and children from power.
Yeah, and feminine presenting people, because it's not just a man. So there are men obviously that aren't defined or that fall within conventional masculine presenting ways, right? So men that dress a certain way or talk a certain way or act a certain way, they are also knocked down a rung, and the men that are masculine presenting, they ascend in the, because the patriarchy is a hierarchy, right? And there are different markers that can make you go up in the patriarchy. In this country, there's no way for black men to ever be at the top of the patriarchy. The top of the pinnacle of the patriarchy is white men, right? And then black men, we fall somewhere on the ladder of the patriarchy, but we can never be at the top of this patriarchy in America. In the world, we can, right? Like in Africa, in an African country, we can be at the top of the patriarchy, but not in America. We can never be at the top of the patriarchy in America.
Okay. All right. So let me ask you this. Like, so that's very interesting. And I knew I was going to come over here and learn some things, and I'm going to challenge some things, and I'm definitely going to take away some things. Let me ask you this, though. You said it's meant to exclude women from power.
Mhm.
What would be an example of that? Excluding them from power.
So it the way that it plays itself out interpersonally, and it plays itself out on a societal scale, right? Like, so politically and interpersonally, right? And economically.
Okay, so start politically. Get that example. It's because you gave an example, so you said politically. So go there.
Yeah. So politically, for an example, like them overturning Roe v. Wade and women not having autonomy over their bodies. That would be an example, right? Over their reproductive rights. Until 1993, I believe, rape wasn't a real thing. In 1993, husbands could rape their wives, and their wives could not press charges against them. And that was in our lifetime, right? We was 11, 12 years old in 1993. So women had very little rights over reproduction. So think about our grannies and our great grandmothers and even our mothers. The men in their lives, they could rape them whenever they wanted to and impregnate them and control them through getting them pregnant up until 30 years ago, right? So that would be one way. So politically, that's one way. Or two ways. Interpersonally, it would be how men control the household through violence or the threat of violence. That would be a way that men use their power in a patriarchy, and there's no repercussions. Like, the system doesn't punish men for doing so.
Okay, so domestic violence is part of the patriarchal system, is what you're saying.
100%, without a doubt. But more than that, it's not even if, like, you don't even have to like physically abuse your wife. You could, it's the threat of violence. So like coercion comes into play, right? If she can just think that if I don't do this, there's a threat of violence there. She can just think that, and that's enough, right? And women know that the system won't protect them. So if you do harm her, she knows that like there's nobody for her to run to. It's not like the police ain't gonna do nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody's gonna do anything. There's nobody can save her.
And this was in time past.
No, this is right now. This is current. Yeah, this is currently. Yeah. Okay. There's like.
Mm-hmm. So what you I didn't mean to cut you off. What you just referenced was not just 1993. What you just referenced, you said it's now. Just the threat of violence, how women are still oppressed. Women are still like victims in these types of situations. Have I said right?
Yep. And children. Yep.
And children.
And feminine presenting people. So you can talk about trans women, trans men, gay men who identify as gay women. It doesn't matter. It's just everybody that is not a cishet, masculine presenting man is subject to some form of violence, brutality, exclusion, so on and so forth.
Okay.
Black.
Now when you reference, and I wanted to get your thought on this too, speaking specifically politically, when you mentioned you mentioned two parts to the patriarchy. What was the first one? You remember what the first part of it was?
Yeah. The tracing the lineage through the man.
Okay, so now it's been a while. Like I said, we hadn't caught up in a while. But you're a married man, correct?
Yep.
Okay, and I 2 boys. I see. I think I've seen pictures of two sons.
Yep.
And how are they identified as Hayes? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they have my last name.
They take your last name. Okay. So let me ask you something. If somebody accused you of being, I guess, this man, that's that falls into that because your wife and your children took your last name, like how would you respond to that? Like what? Like, you see what I'm saying? Like there's two sides to this thing. Like, do you understand what I'm saying? Like how?
Yeah.
What would be your rebuttal to the individual who said, "Oh man, like, why can't the children have mom's last name? Or what's the reason your wife has to take your last name?" Like what would be your response to that before I ask my second question?
That they didn't have to. That I wouldn't have been mad if my wife didn't take my last name, and I wouldn't be upset if my kids didn't have my last name. But we didn't. When I got married 14 years ago. I wasn't thinking about this 14 years ago. She wasn't. You know what I'm saying? We were raised in this country. We're indoctrinated, right? Which is proof that we're all indoctrinated. You know what I'm saying? And that was just like the natural thing. I think we talked briefly about like how we would do the last name stuff, but it's not a big deal to me. Like if my wife wanted to like remove my last name now and like go back to her last name, whatever, but her last name is her dad's last name anyway. So it's not like she has her mom's last name. She still has her dad's last name, no matter what.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so she's in a healthy marriage with you, right? And then like, and I you don't have to answer this or not, but I'm going to be bold and say it. You can say none of your business, right? What would be her relationship with her dad? Good relationship with her father?
He passed away, but it was really good. Like that was like her dad is like my dad. Yeah, her dad's the best parent I've ever met. He's the pinnacle of like, I'm like, that's the guy you want to be like for sure as a parent.
And you said he was like your dad. So both of you guys come from strong stock when it comes to that. So beautiful. All right. So my thing simply would be this. Like I said, in the sense of she came from an environment where male protection, male authority, male covering, like I said, was not just like, I don't think it was just like status quo. I think it's necessary for our survival. Like she came from, yeah. Well, when you think about it, though, right? Like she was loved well by a father. Like I said, dad protected her. She took her last name, and then I would ask you this: if y'all and really think about this before you answer. Don't answer impulsively. Really think about this. If you could go back to that time, 14 years ago, y'all got married, and you had the opportunity. Then is she gonna be Hayes or is she gonna be whoever? How do you genuinely think like that you guys will go about it? Even like I said, how
like
do you
now?
Yeah,
I think that this part of it isn't really like. I think the best way to do it, to be honest with you, would be for her to keep her name and to give my kids her last name, because it should be traced through the mother. It's like the kids are always the moms. You know what I'm saying? Like you're never.
What do you mean?
Watch that baby come out of your wife, right? There was no doubt that the babies was her babies. You know what I'm saying? There's no doubt that your sons are your wife's kids. No doubt.
Right.
Well, like I watched my wife give birth to both of my sons. I'm saying, so you never have to question maternity. Maternity is 100%. You know what I'm saying? Like
that makes sense.
Unless you got to mix up in a hospital, maternity is 100%. Right. The woman pulls the baby out. The baby's on her boob for the rest. You know what I'm saying? She knows that's her kid. Okay, cool. Right. So it's mama's baby, papa's maybe. Right? Always. Even with us. And I'm not a questioner of like my kids' paternity. Like I know my kids are my kids, but I'm saying like it's easier to trace it through the mother because the mother is 100% the parent. There's no need to name it to give the child the father's last name first and foremost for that reason. And secondly, men leave the majority of the time. Either men fall within one of these two categories the majority of the time. Men either abandon their kids completely or they're neglectful. The majority of men are either neglectful or they abandon their kids. There are very few men that actually show up for their children. Basically, think about it like this. There are very few men who show up for their children to the same level that the mothers show up for their children. Very few men match their mothers match the mother's energy. Very few.
What define neglectful though?
Neglectful. So neglecting their needs, neglecting their wants, not putting the children first, not putting the mother first, because you have to put, like, you can't. I don't think you can hate the mother and love the
not
children.
mom, just the children, just the children.
I know you
children.
can't.
Yeah,
but you can't hate the mother and love the children.
Oh,
Like that. Like that's damn near
Yeah,
impossible. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So you have to put the well-being of the mother first too, because the one of the greatest indicators of the outcomes of children is the health of the mother. So if the healthier the mother is, the better the children's fare, right? So if you were a smart man, right, and you really loved your kids, you would really, like, not saying just pour into the mom, but you would really, really, really make sure your wife was like content and happy, and you know what I'm saying, and like really, really focus on that, like happy wife, happy life type shit.
Now the majority. So you said needs, wants, mom first. So I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I'm gonna push back major on the wants.
No, not mom first, not mom first. I'm saying you can't separate them. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't, like it can't be like here's what I'm saying. You can't make the kids happy and the mom be sad. You see what I mean? You have to do it all. Like you have to make the kids happy and you have to make the mom happy. Because if the mom is sad, it'll eventually trickle down to the kid. There's no way around it. So you have to do it all. You don't. There's no need for you to choose in between the two. That's what I'm saying. You have to do it all. There's no way to separate the two.
Now let me ask you something. So in these opinions that you and I have, obviously they're rooted in experience. Talk to me about your experience with you neglecting your kids' needs. What does that mean? Like you said, we neglect needs. Like how the majority of men neglect needs. Like what does that look like? Like because I mean, men. I feel like men has a 4-part job, and like I said, when you say neglecting need, I'm like what does that mean? Like how do the majority of men neglect their children's needs?
They don't listen to them. They don't talk to them. They don't communicate. The same thing they do with their wives. Most men don't talk to their wives. They don't listen to their wives. They don't. They. I mean, I could break it down in a bunch of examples. The kids don't eat when they're with their dads. This is normal shit. You ask a woman, like, talk to mothers about their daddies, right? I'm talking about men that they married to, not baby daddies, about the dads that's in the home, right? Hey, when you leave your kids with your spouse, do you worry about if they're gonna eat or not? Them women will say, yeah, all the time. But flip that around. Do you ever worry about if your kids gonna eat lunch? If you leave the house at 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning, and you plan on coming home at 3, you know your kids done ate twice and they done ate many snacks and all of that stuff, right? But if you flip that around, I bet you, even if I ask your wife, she'll be like, yeah, I be worried sometimes, making sure that they ate.
I would like to ask one of those. It's very interesting that you bring that up. I would like to ask those women though who say, yeah, I worry about, are they gonna eat with their daddy, and then the men come back and say, no, I'm not worried about if they're gonna eat with their mom. Now, what's the reason the men don't have to worry about if they're going to eat with their mother? Most of the times because those men are the ones providing. Says like, hey, I put money on the lunch account at school. The refrigerator is filled with groceries. Like I said, I mean, it's been taken care of. That's why, man. You actually, yeah. Okay. So you said like
you going to work doesn't exclude you from your fatherly duties. Everybody goes to work. My wife works. I work. When she comes home, there's a book called The Second Shift about women who work and then they come home and they clock in at home. Women who are the breadwinners, they do more labor in the home than women who make less money than the man, and they do more labor in the home than the man in the home. So that's not an excuse. Just because you fill the refrigerator up with food does not exclude you from the responsibility of taking care of your kids once you get home. You still got to feed them.
So then you're saying that woman is worried about the daddy not gonna cook for the boys when she go out of town, or gonna cook for the kids when she go out of town,
and not listen to them.
So I take them to Chick-fil-A.
That's fine. However they eat, it's all good. However they eat, it ain't about, you know what I'm saying. However they eat, right? But the moms are worried. They're concerned about things like that, like basic necessities. They're worried that Did you give them a bath? Did they brush their teeth? Did you talk to them? Did they read at night with you? Right? Like that's what I'm saying. Like women do so much for the kids that men don't, like men just don't do. We neglect all of this stuff. Because like you said, we make the excuse of, oh, I make money, therefore I don't have to do this. But that's not how it works. You got to show up for your kids.
But let me ask you something. Could this be exaggerated just a little bit though, Prince? And here's why I say that. I think so. Because first of all, how often are most men alone with the kids anyway? So when she go on that girls trip, or she going with them, or she going with them with her friends, and we're there, okay, yeah, I'm gonna bathe this child. I want to know what you're thinking. 1 second. Like, I'm gonna bathe this child. I'm gonna put this child in the bed. I'm gonna do what I need to do. Now, here's the deal. Now this is where people may say I'm chauvinist or whatever, and I'm not. People throw those terms around.
Why do you say you're not?
Well, I'm not chauvinist.
Why do you get to determine if you're chauvinistic or not? You think you get to determine that, or do you think we get to determine that?
I think if you logically break down the definition of what that is, or when women throw around misogyny and chauvinistic, most of the time they can't even define it. So you're not gonna. That's like being insulting. Both. Well, hold on real quick. That's like being insulting to somebody, and then you don't even know what it is that you said to this person. So my thing is, first of all, like I said, a lot of times it's exaggerated. But what I'm saying though is, there are certain things that men do naturally better and women do naturally better. Like there are certain things that you can't. I think naturally speaking, women are more nurturing, or they're supposed to be more nurturing. I think men are physically stronger naturally than women are. I think
we're physically stronger. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we are. This is physically stronger. I've heard some
in certain ways, not in every way, but yeah, when it comes to like labor intensive stuff, I think we are physically stronger. I don't think that we overall are physically stronger because we can't give birth and our pain threshold is way lower than women's. I don't think that women are naturally more nurturing than men. I totally disagree with that. I think men are extremely nurturing. Can be, but we're not, because we're conditioned to not be nurturing.
I think there's exceptions to every rule, but the exception is not the rule. But I'm saying though, I think so there are things that men do differently. I think we manage our emotions. We are all emotional beings. I just feel like we manage our emotions better than women. So I have a problem when men say, stop being emotional. No. We all are emotional beings. I just feel like sometimes for the most part, men have a better way of restraining it. Okay, listen, I can't just go gap off at the mouth at this person because, like I said, that's not going to yield the result I wanted to yield. Like I said, I can't just go ahead.
No, I was going to ask you. Wait, so you think so? Okay, two things. A, who goes to prison? Who fills up the prisons? Men or women?
Men raised by single mothers, a lot of it, but
women are also raised by single mothers, so that wouldn't be the reason why. So yeah. So who fills up the prisons, men or women?
Well, there are more men in prison than women.
Not even close, right? Okay. And would you say that the vast majority of people in prison are in prison because they cannot manage their emotions?
I think you would. I think that can be part of it. Yeah, that can
more
be
than likely. Yeah. That's the main thing.
Yeah. If you shot somebody in an act of rage,
beat somebody, robbed somebody.
Yeah,
all of these things.
That, yeah, like I said, yeah, man, definitely.
Yep. So smug,
especially violent crimes, especially violent crimes.
Great rape.
Especially now, I will say like more white collar crimes and stuff like that. That's different, but I think violent crimes, especially, yeah, absolutely.
90. I think crime is crime first and foremost, and I think that, and I'm not saying that it hurts people the same, but I'm saying the same thought process goes into committing crimes, and I'm talking about these types of crimes. 98% of rapes are committed by men, and 98% of overall crimes in the world is committed by men. 85% of robberies are committed by men in this country, and 85% of crime is committed by men. There is no way that you can make a logical argument that men are more emotion, or we have more control of our emotions than women. It just doesn't. Mm-hmm.
No, excuse me. Finish your sentence. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying that's what I'm saying. There's no way for a person to tell me logically that men are that men have better control of their emotions. Also, men lack empathy, and empathy is a strong emotion that you need to be in control of your emotions, like being able to put yourself in somebody else's shoes. is a you know what I mean? Like that
Men,
helps you a lot.
help me understand this before I go back to the patriarchy in prison. I'm gonna come back to that. Don't
Yep.
let me forget that. You just said a minute ago, men can be nurturing, but men lack empathy. How can you be nurturing without empathy? It just seems like a disconnect. Help me understand how it's not.
No, we are conditioned to not be empathetic to people. We are conditioned. We were born like my sons have a ton of empathy. They're very empathetic. I bet you your sons are very empathetic. But by the time they become teenagers and adults, what men do, especially men, but the world does this too, but especially the men in their homes, they start to condition them. They start to pass on their misogyny. They start, oh, don't do that. That's for girls. Oh, don't do that. Real men don't do that. Oh, no, men don't. Oh, no, no. Men don't. That's how you start talking to them. And once they start to do that, then you start to teach them how to perform manhood, right? Because manhood is all a performance. Masculinity is all a performance, not a real thing, right? It doesn't really exist. It's a performance. So men like to pass on their misogyny, aka their version of manhood, right? And they teach their sons this stuff. And one of the first things you have to do is you have to strip away that boy's empathy. A boy cannot be empathetic because empathy is seen as weakness in men. If a man is empathetic, that is seen as a weakness by most other men, and the patriarchy for sure, right? You can't go around here caring about other people. Can't go around here listening to people. Who does that?
It's good conversation. And by the time I want to unpack one point, we jump right into the next one. Like masculinity is a performance. What is that? It's how we wired, brother.
No, it's not. No, masculinity is made up. It's not a real thing.
Define masculinity.
Masculinity are just traits that are that can be commonly attributed to men. So things that like most men do, that would be I'm sorry, it's two parts to it. It's things that most men do that most women don't do as much, right? So like you said, women are more nurturing. I agree. I don't think it's natural, but women are more nurturing, right? Therefore, that would be attributed to femininity. Being nurturing is attributed to femininity, right? Because more women are nurturing. It's more commonly found in women.
And femininity is not a performance?
No, it's not. Femininity and masculinity are social constructs. They're just made up. But it's just the definition of it. The literal definition of masculinity is characteristics that can commonly be that can be attributed commonly attributed to men, right? So that's all it is.
Let me ask you something. If let's put it this way. Let's say like if your in-laws were visiting, and if her father was still alive, he was visiting your house, and they heard somebody breaking in the house in the middle of the night.
Yep.
And then they get up to oh my God, what's going on? Something's going on downstairs, and they can hear you say to your lady, "Hey baby, go down there and check it out." Let me ask you something. How does that man? What do you think that man thinks about you after that situation takes place?
I've had this conversation 1,000 times about the mythical guy breaking into the house in the middle of the night argument, right? And it's just an antiquated thought process. It is. It's old school. But I'm being honest with you. So the way that I look at it is like this. I could break it down in many ways. What if I'm disabled? Wouldn't it make more sense for her to go down there and check on it? What if I don't have legs? What if I'm enfeebled? What if I'm sickly?
But Prince, think about that though. That's mythical too. What if I'm disabled?
It's not.
You're not.
How many people are disabled? Disabilities are common.
No, you're not. And you and I probably couldn't even name 10 that we know that are disabled.
I mean, well, my son is disabled. So okay. Yeah, my son has disability. Yeah, I know tons of people that have disabilities, right? But my point is this though. It's once again, you're talking about the physical aspect of it, right? So here's what I'm saying. It's not a masculine thing. It's a physical thing, right? So the reason why they expect me to go downstairs is because I'm bigger. But here's the gag though. Me and my wife are both going downstairs. I don't know about we both fighting. To protect our kids, we both fighting. Right? But if we both can get out, we're both gonna get out with our kids. If we can't get out, we're both fighting. That's just the reality.
Okay, I think that's great. Hey, ride or die chick, I'm all in for that. Hey, listen.
No. That's survival. That's survival.
I'm saying, but when I run out of energy, she firing shots. I'm good with that. I have no problem.
I mean, if she got the pew pew, then go. You got to pew pew.
Oh,
I'm
without
in
question.
California. I ain't in Texas. We don't believe in pew pews like
We in
that.
the great country of Texas.
That's what I'm saying. Y'all got your own thing going on. I feel
It's going
right?
down. So,
You,
but here's hold on. Here's what I'm saying though. But who's going down first though? You're gonna go first, like
it
you
doesn't
are.
matter though. But
No,
what does that
it
have to
does.
do with
It does.
masculinity?
Okay. I'm saying, Prince, the same way. Let me ask you something. Um, if my and I'm not no longer married, but like I said, if I had a lady sitting next to me and your lady, we're all at dinner. You got two men at the table, two women at the table. We can identify who the men are. We can identify who the women are. Like naturally, my voice changed. Naturally, you and I grew beards. I'm saying my mentality is just as hardwired in who I am as a male species, as it is for me. It's as natural for me to grow a beard, grow a mustache, to grow physically stronger. Man, this is bigger than
Women,
just social constructs,
wo-
man. Listen,
wo-
you and me, listen, your wife ain't carrying them groceries in the house like that. She got, if there are 20 bags of groceries, you carried about 15 of them. She carried 5 of them. It's the gentleman thing to do. And I'm
see,
not
you're
saying
talking,
there's anything wrong with that.
but you're proving my point though. It's a performance. That's chivalry. That you're describing chivalry.
It's a
My
performance.
wife can, yes, my wife can carry 20 bags of groceries. Maybe not all one. Neither one of us can carry 20 bags. But my wife can carry groceries in the house. What would she do if I wasn't there? She would carry the groceries in the house. If I'm there, I help her, right? It's all a performance. It's not a real thing.
I'm
Masculinity is not a real thing.
okay. So
Look, I got it. Wait. I got a perfect example because this is a perfect time to watch that video that you got, right? Because it's perfect time. Do you think that do you think that when, I mean, in the video you said, in your video you talk about little boys wearing dresses. Do you know that 100 years ago little boys wore dresses? Did you know that?
Break it down, brother. Break that down.
100
Break that
100 years ago little boys wore dresses. There's pictures of little boys because think of it's easier for little kids to go to the restroom if they have on a dress. So they used to put little boys in dresses. That was like a normal
Okay.
thing. Nobody thought it was. It has nothing. I wear fingernail paint. Do you know that black men invented fingernail paint and we wore it as it was a sign of bravery? Warriors wore fingernail paint,
Wow,
right?
that's interesting.
Do you know that men actually started wearing high heels? Women didn't wear high heels at first. Men wore high heels first. Men started wearing high heels first. Did you know that
Yeah, but
men started wearing makeup first? Women did. See what I'm saying? So now, but in 2025, if a man wears makeup, you one of them. Oh, you a trans, like all that shit, right? Because it changes. Masculinity changes. It's if it
okay,
didn't,
but
if it was, this is what I'm saying to you, Andre. If it was hardwired, it would never change. It would just be the same throughout history. But it changes from region to region, from time zone to time zone, from era to era, from black people to white people, right?
so let's go with that. Like the founding fathers or whoever of this country and the people who like the lawmakers, politicians, they wore wigs. Let's
Yep.
keep going. Let's keep building on
They still do wear
your
wigs.
analogy. But you said things change, and you're absolutely right. What's the difference between a little boy wearing a dress then, because it was easy to go to the bathroom, and then the little boy wearing a dress now because somebody's trying to promote a political agenda? It's two totally different things.
Nobody's promoting a political agenda. That's the only people that politicize little boys wearing dresses are people who are transphobic. And the only people who politicize and sexualize kids' clothing are the very people who they act like they're not, like the people who are transphobic and homophobic. Like, I don't give a fuck if a little boy wears a dress. If my son wanted to wear a dress, I would let him wear a dress. I wouldn't think nothing about it. My son started painting his fingernails before I started painting my fingernails. You know what I'm saying? I don't care. My son is a high functioning child mentally. He's a highly functioning child. He's very aware of who he is. He's comfortable with his personhood, right? I don't want to make him uncomfortable. Oh, boys don't do that. Boys only like, that's weird. I'm not gonna do that to my son.
So here's the deal. And where I work at, we had a guy come in, big dude. He wears a dress. He wears heels. Like I said, he's not wearing a dress. And there's a difference between a boy and a man wearing a dress because of sexual sexual preferences and people wearing dresses back then, because it was just like you said, and I don't know this, I'm just quoting you. And like I said, you probably have the article or the research to prove it. Like I said, you don't seem to be the type of person that's just gonna throw something out there like that. But there's a difference between what they were doing then and what's happening now. So we got a guy, man, he's all a six Prince, he's all a 6'4". He comes into our store. And I was told one point this dude tried to go into the ladies' restroom because he identified a certain way. I gotta be real honest with you, champ. If your wife goes into the bathroom, I don't want that dude going in behind her. I don't want him going in behind her. I have a problem with it, man. I think there is something fundamentally off with that. And I think there's something, and then even bigger than that. You can disagree with me, agree to disagree with that. It's a safety issue. That dude's not going, like, I'm telling that dude he's not going in there in the restroom behind your wife. It's a safety issue. Some little girl walk out a stall and she see the man come into the stall. He's 6'4". He like this massive little kids and christenings. I see that photo. That's fine. But I'm saying
these aren't christenings though. These are just how the little boys used to dress. These are from the these are not christenings. These are just little boys in dresses.
Right.
Because little boys used to wear dresses. Yeah.
Okay. No, but is there any context to that? Like, those are photos. Is there any, like, you got any articles to kind of go through it?
Why little boys wear dresses? Yeah, it's right here. I read several articles on this. It's a very known thing that little boy. I told you why. It was easy for boys to go to the restroom. That was the thing.
Right. And so it was easy for them to go and use a man's restroom. Right. That's fine. Okay, it is what it is. I'm not knocking that. But then I said, but there's this political movement, like this political agenda that's pushed liberally, right? Like it's a very liberal way of thinking. Whereas now, like, okay, now this same little boy can go and if you had a daughter, you probably think differently about it, but he can go change his gender orientation and then go put on boxing gloves and beat your daughter up. That's not okay, man. That's bananas.
I think that's that's also one of those, like, very that's an old talking point. But like, if I asked you to tell me what percentage of people identify as trans in America,
probably less than 2%.
It's less than 2%, right?
Probably less than 2%.
It is. How many? I don't know if you saw this. The president of the NCAA was on Capitol Hill, and he was talking about this. And a senator asked him a bunch of questions, and one of the questions he asked him was like, "How many trans athletes are there in America?" It was like less than like 30 in all of sports. In all college sports, right? There's tens of thousands of college athletes. There was less than 30 that were trans. This is not an issue. It's not something I would worry about with my daughter. It's not something I would worry about with my son. This is a made-up issue that people use to vilify and demonize people of marginalized communities. Yes.
Prince,
and as a black man, I'm going to help you out real quick. I'm going to make the parallel. 60 years ago, the same way you're talking about trans people is the same way white people talked about us. Hey, yes. You don't remember when they had separate bathrooms? You don't think that a one of the things that they told white people to keep the bathroom separate was, you don't want black men in the bathroom. You don't want black people anywhere near, or black men anywhere near white women. You don't think that was something that they told them? Like, the fear mongering tactics that they use to subjugate us are the same fear mongering tactics you're using to subjugate trans people.
No. I disagree with the fact that I'm using fear mongering techniques. You and I are actually saying the same thing. I want to go back to the point that I made. I said it's a political thing. It's being forced on us because you and I both agreed that it's less than 2. Let me finish. It's less than 2%. So my thing is, if it's less than 2%, it's Hollywood that's making us think that it's that it's like bigger than what it is.
Who politicized it? That's what I'm asking. Who politicized it? But who politicized it? The trans community did not politicize it. The right wing politicized it. Yes, the conservatives politicized it, sir. Yes.
No. That's not the.
They did.
It's not the conservatives. It's not the conservatives. The conservatives are fighting. The conservatives. I agree that it's less than 2%. I'm saying that when you look at Hollywood and you look at the liberal movement, they're trying to put momentum behind it to get this thing bigger than what it is. Hold on, real quick. I can be watching. That's what I'm getting ready to tell you. Like I said, who's arguing for young trans athletes to be able to compete, trans boys to be able to compete with biological girls in their sporting events? That's a liberal thing. You can go watch a movie. Hold on, real quick.
Why do they need to argue?
Hold on, you can go. Because they want to make this a thing.
No. But you're missing. But you're missing my point. Why do they need to argue? They should just be allowed to compete. The pushback is the problem.
Not with biological girls. They should not be able to compete. No.
Why not?
No.
They have no inherent advantage.
Born a male.
You have no inherent advantage.
So we talked about this. Men are born naturally stronger.
Some men are born naturally stronger than some women. You making this assumption that every man is stronger than every woman is wild.
You're making the exception the rule.
I'm not.
The world works in generality. Yes,
my wife is stronger than many men. My wife is stronger than a lot of men. I've seen my wife because I've watched my wife squat 225 pounds, and most men can't squat 225 pounds. I can bench press 225 pounds, and I can squat 225 pounds. Most men cannot do that. See what I'm saying?
Can she bench press 225 pounds?
She can't bench press 225 pounds, but
okay,
she can squat 225 pounds.
So what's the reason Prince can lift and bench more than his wife?
I'm stronger than her, yeah. But she's stronger than most men, though. That's my point.
So let me ask you this: how much of you being stronger than her, Prince, is because listen, if she trains daily and you train daily, who's going to be physically stronger at the end of the day?
More than likely me, but I'm also a foot taller.
That's what I'm saying.
No, but I mean, I'm also a foot taller than my wife. So if all things were equal, if my wife was 6 foot like me, and we trained every day and she bench press, I would still be stronger than her, but I bet you it wouldn't be that much of a difference. If she was a 6 foot, 220 pound woman, she'd be able to move some weights around. That's what I'm saying.
Let me ask you something. Which group of, we got WNBA, NBA, which group of athletes on average are bigger? The NBA, right? Right. Yeah. You're going to have more 7-footers in the NBA than WNBA. Every now and again, you get a Brittany Griner. Brittany Griner's not exactly 7 feet. She's like 6'11". No. Every now and again, you get this. It goes back to the point. And men, you're a foot taller because naturally speaking, men are the bigger species.
We're bigger. I agree. I'm not disagreeing with that. But
that's what I'm saying.
You're not, but you're missing. See, you're almost there. The point is this. Perfect example. Are most WNBA players bigger and stronger than most men, though? That's the question now. Fuck the NBA, because the NBA are extreme versions, right? But let's use those women. I love that you brought up the WNBA. Is Brittany Griner is bigger and stronger than me? She's probably bigger and stronger than you too, right?
I can still get under 225 17 times. Brittany Griner's not stronger than me, bro.
And that's only one form of strength. I bet you, if you got a basketball and you tried to back her down, you wouldn't be able to move her. If she got a basketball and backed you down, she would move you all around the court. She is stronger than you in most ways. Maybe not bench pressing, but in other ways she is. That's what I'm saying.
The same thing. I'm saying
the same thing. Strength is strength.
Listen. You put you may actually be talking about skill in this regard. If you me, Prince and Dre, we show up to the court and Caitlin Clark is shooting shots. All right, Caitlin Clark's probably gonna outshoot both of us, bro. It's got that skill because she put the time into that effort, right? But there are guys, like I said, that's different. But as far as back, like when it comes, you talking about backing us down. Like I said, if you're squatting 225, you're benching 225, you can stand there solid. She's not gonna be bodying you like Shaq would body somebody.
Brittany Griner would move me. She would move me all around the court. She would move me wherever she wanted to move me. She weighs probably 70, 80 pounds more than I weigh. She is almost a fucking foot taller than me.
Champ. Google that real quick. 70, 80 pounds more than you. Probably not even that. But I would doubt it. But like I said, she's probably not that much bigger than you know.
Brittany Griner is huge. But my point is, Brittany Griner.
and
I think we're getting
like
off
I said,
track. Hold on.
A little bit, but
wait.
A little bit.
No, you're right. Wait. She's only 6'9", by the way. She's only 6'9", and she outweighs me by 20 pounds. She's 6'9", she outweighs me by 20 pounds.
Dog, she's almost a foot
bigger than me, and she was.
But that's what I'm saying.
6'9", she's 9 inches taller than me.
She's 9 inches taller than you, but only 20 pounds heavier. Prince,
but that's
my
point. A lot of players. I know a lot of players like that.
That's not a big difference.
Kobe was only 212. He was 6'6". He was only 212. Jordan was only 2.
No.
Jordan was only 2. Yes, go look it up. Kobe was only 212. Kobe was thin. Yeah. Jordan looked huge. Jordan was like 215. Their super basketball players are super duper lean, like super lean. Super lean.
How much do you weigh? How much do you weigh? You're 185. So Brittany Griner is 205.
She's 20 pounds heavier.
Okay, so but if you said Kobe is 212, like I said, so then what? That puts another 30. Like that puts him at what, 30 or 40 heavier than you? Is that
30 pounds heavier than me, and she's 20 pounds heavier than me. Yep.
Man, listen, brother, you gonna be. I watched Mark Lamont Hill. He was on Candace Owens' show. I'll give you an example of this. Now, trying to get off track. And she asked that brother straight up. You know who Mark Lamont Hill is, right?
Yeah, that's my guy. I love Mark Lamont.
Man, listen, he had a horrible moment, dog. You wouldn't be proud.
I did. I saw it.
She asked him, it was the end of the interview. Go back and watch it. She asked him, she said, can trans men have periods? Some do. Get out of here. Absolutely not. You are not born a woman. You cannot have a menstrual cycle. Like I said, that stuff. Like I said,
it's a dumb argument.
But he's
trans men do have a lot of trans men do have periods. Do you know what a trans man is?
No. She hold on. Let's, before we do that,
yeah.
She asked him, can Andre White, a man, 43 years into this game, Prince, can he have
a male? Can a male have a menstrual cycle? No. Can a man have a menstrual cycle? Yes. A man is a social construct. A male is not. A male is scientific. A female is scientific. A man and a woman are not. They're social constructs.
I don't know what buzzwords or YouTube was, but I would not be vulgar on this thing. But male genitalia, you're born a male, you came out of your mother. Hey, it's a boy. Can never have a menstrual cycle, brother. A male. So let's go with a male. So he was born a male. Turned himself into a woman, and now she asked him that. Dr. Mark Lamont Hill, come on, man. That now, brother.
Are there trans men who have babies? Yes. So they can have periods.
Trans men. So a man.
There are trans men who have babies, yeah, all the time.
So a man who was born a man and then became a woman was able to get pregnant and have a baby?
That's not a trans man. That's why I was asking you. Do you know what a trans man is? That's not a trans man.
But Prince, but you understand what I'm saying, though.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I do understand what you're saying. You're not saying the right thing. You're not saying the right thing. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah, because it's illogical for people to say that they're more than two genders. That's garbage. It's male and female. It's male and female. Hold on real quick. Let me finish this real quick.
Those aren't genders. Those aren't genders. Male and female aren't genders.
Please let me say this, though. A male, born a male, cannot go and transform into a woman, cut his junk off. Bruce Jenner can never have a baby, bro. It's not gonna happen, sir. No.
Bruce Jenner can't. But do you know that there are many? There are many sexes. There's not just two sexes. There are intersex people. There are people who have both parts. People who have vaginas and have male genitalia. There are people who have ovaries and testicles. Like, I don't know what you're talking about.
What do they call people with both parts? What do they call them?
Hermaphrodites.
So how does that happen? Break that down for me, because if that's the case, this percentage of people are hermaphrodites. This percentage of the population of the world is not.
You would be shocked. You would be shocked.
Break that down.
You would be shocked if you look it up. I think it's like 10%. It's pretty high, actually. Not that are hermaphrodites, but I'm saying that are not. But the point in all of this is, I don't really, me personally, I don't focus on trans people in this regard. Like, I am a believer that trans rights are human rights. I think that I know trans people exist. I have trans people in my family. I think it's a very weird stance to take to try to vilify them or demonize them in any way, shape, or form, or to come after them. Also, as a Black man, I am hypersensitive to oppression. So I don't like participating in the oppression of another group of people. Nothing that trans people do affects you or me in a negative way. So I don't really care. If they want to use restrooms, I let them use restrooms. If they say it's important to them, it's important to them. Let them have. I will not fight against any of that stuff. I think this is a very odd, once again, is a odd conversation coming from two Black men. I think it's always weird to me how Black men cannot understand the oppression of other groups of people when they are literally using the exact same tactics that they use to oppress us, to oppress another group of people. And all you got to do is just shift that trans talk over to a race talk, and then you should easily be able to see, oh wow, that's exactly how they talk about us. But we would rather punch down.
There was a kid in Wyoming many years ago. His name was Matthew Shepard. And he was this kid. I don't know if you ever heard the name. He was a gay kid. Did not deserve this. I want to start with the end in mind. He did not deserve this. He was at a bar. Two guys pretended to be gay so that they can just torture this human being and do horrible things to him. They took him. They took him out of the bar, tied him to a fence, beat him to death. He did not deserve that. Prince, I'm convinced that if you or I saw a gay man getting picked on, we jumping in and we fighting. Like we getting involved and we gonna get we gonna knock. I'm protecting that kid. Like it's not gonna happen, dude. We getting down.
But
like we gonna fight.
But you won't protect his. But you won't protect his rights. But you won't protect his rights, though.
No, I am protecting his right. He's a human being, but I'm also protecting the rights of my nieces, my future wife. If I have more kids, which I tell my daughter, my mother, your wife, I'm saying that you just can't do that. But you have the right. I didn't tell you couldn't put on a dress and go to school. I didn't tell you that.
Hold on,
I'm saying
Andre.
that there's. Let me finish. Please let me finish.
Okay, my bad.
I'm just saying there has to be. I'm just saying what I'm saying is there is a line to what this looks like, and you can't cross said line. I'm not telling you.
How does gay rights infringe on heterosexual people's rights?
Almost, and then well, lastly, man, you somebody and again, it's inhumane. Sicking dogs on us and putting water holes on us. I get that, but two men going into the same bathroom as a white man because we shouldn't have to go use a restroom because we're not less than human. It's different than a man wearing a dress and say, hey, I got on a dress, I'm going into the restroom with the women, because the probability of the safety dropping for that woman, it increases. Stay with me. It increases her, let me finish. I promise I'm gonna shut up. It increases her chances of not being safe. Prince, if a dude walk into a restroom with me and you, we're not in harm of being violated. That dude tries some of me.
I got a question for you. So what percentage of women have been attacked or raped by trans women?
Huh?
What percentage of women are harmed by trans women? What percentage of rape?
I don't know. Tell me. You would tell me.
I don't know. I'm asking you though. It's very few.
Okay.
The number one perpetrator of rapes and sexual assaults are men, cishet men, not trans women and not trans men. So the fact that you are more afraid of trans men is like this. It's like this. Like how right wingers talk about immigrants, right? And they say like, oh, those immigrants coming across the border, they're criminals and thugs. And you look up the numbers and come to find out immigrants are the most law-abiding citizens in the country, right? That's what the numbers say. So statistically, I should be more afraid of an American, of a person born in America than I should be of a person born on Mexican soil, right? Because Americans in America are far more likely to commit a crime or an act of violence in this country than an immigrant is, right? That's the same thing for trans people and for gay people. We are far more likely to experience violence coming from cishet men than we are from any other group of people on the face of this planet. So when you talk about us being afraid of we should be concerned for our women, it's crap. The people who you should be most concerned with are cishet men, which that's who I focus on. I focus on cishet men, not trans women, not trans men, not gay men, not gay women, cishet men. The vast majority.
There is a difference between caution and being rational than being phobic. There is a difference between being cautious and being rational than being phobic. So my thing is like
leads to oppression and you're phobic. When your
No.
caution leads to the oppression of another group, then you're phobic, and that's what's happening.
I think that's awesome, but we're not saying the same thing. Here's what I'm saying to you. Earlier in the conversation, and I'm saying one more time, there's a difference between being cautious and being rational than being phobic. We talked about this earlier in the conversation. If the mythical somebody breaking into the house, you said this. Mm-hmm. That's what you said earlier. You said, Andre, that's crazy. Nobody's breaking into the house. All right, but here's the deal. But you lock your doors at night. You do it for a reason, right? You lock your doors at night. You do it for a reason. I lock my doors and I do it for a reason. There was just somebody in we have a homeowners association Facebook page, and it was talking about a man at the store who was harassing women, and a bunch of the men got on and was like, "Hey man, I don't want to see this dude anywhere near my wife. I'm not over here flipping out over trans men. That's not what I'm doing. But I'm saying there's a difference between caution and being rational than it is being phobic. And my thing is, I have to be cautious when it comes to heterosexuals. I got to be cautious when it comes to transgenders. And if I'm not going to leave my door open at night because we're going to be okay. No, I don't want nobody coming up in here on my family. And then I have to be mindful. Hold on, real quick. But then I have to be mindful of who's coming. Like I said, I can't give you unrestricted access to a space where ladies need this privacy and ladies need this space just because you think you identify as something else. That's not being phobic. That's being logical and rational. And I guarantee you, listen, if they stop building houses with doors, crime is going to go up. If they just let anybody else go into any restroom, anywhere they want to go, like we keep letting this thing happen, it's going to get worse. So that percentage that you're talking about here, logically, that's going to grow. It's a safety issue. That's just how I look at it, man.
But it's not though, and it's just something that people hide behind when they don't know when they want to excuse their hatred.
And, I don't have hatred though.
You do though.
I don't have hatred.
I mean, it's okay. I don't think it's okay to hate, but I think it's okay to accept that you have hatred and understand where the hatred comes from. Like I said, I think it's odd. It's hard, man. I just think it's odd when people, like I said earlier, you don't get to say that you're not homophobic. You don't get to say you're not transphobic. You don't get to say that you're not misogynist. You don't get to say that. The same. Wouldn't that be odd if you were talking to a white person and they said things that were very problematic to you that you knew as a black man, like this is problematic, this is racist, and in your mind you think they're racist, and you actually tell them, hey, that's racist or you're racist, and then they go, I'm not racist.
Why say what? Give me an example of what? Give me an example. What? Say what?
I'm telling you, everything you're saying is rooted in transphobia. Everything you're saying, nothing you're saying is rooted in reality. It's not coming from a place of statistics. It's not coming from a place of data or science or anything. It's literally nothing. I'm not, Andre, I swear to God, I'm not playing at all. Nothing you have said is rooted in science or data. I'm not being hyperbolic.
You and I actually agreed on the fact that it's less than 2%. So the data's there.
That was my point. But that was my point. But that
no. You asked me a question and I answered it because I know the data. You asked me a question.
But that's my point, though. That was what I brought up, though. This is what I'm saying. Why have we been focusing on trans people and they are less than 2% of the population? We've been talking about it for 20 minutes. I don't even look. You know how I talk about trans people and trans rights. Like I said, this is how quick it is for me with trans rights. Trans rights are human rights. Everything that every right that trans people earn, it is a win for everybody in society, especially black people. Every time gay people get rights, women get rights, and every time women get rights, black people get rights, black men and black women. So trans rights are human rights, right? Black rights are human rights. Gay rights are human rights. All of these things are human rights, and I will never, ever, ever be on the side opposing said rights of a marginalized. If you're ever on the opposite, but Andre, real quick, and I want to end this discussion on this. If you find yourself ever on the opposite side of of opposing the rights of a marginalized group, you need to re-examine why you are taking that position, right? If you are on the opposite side of a marginalized group getting some right, you should say, "Oh, wait a minute." Just on that alone, you should take a step back and say, "Wait a minute. Okay, do I have this right? Do I really got this right, or am I tripping?" Right? And more than likely, if you really examine it, you're probably going to find out you're tripping. It's just the reality, right? And also, I'm just gonna tell it to you as a guy. You can't do that. Like that type of stuff, like talking like that, it will get, like, in polite society, people frown. They frown on that for good reason. I'm so happy we progress enough in our society where you, like, talking about it in this way. I think it's odd. Definitely in California side. I don't know about in Texas. Definitely odd in Cali. It's just weird, man. It's just not healthy. I don't think it's helpful. I don't think it helps. I don't think it protects.
Okay, so move it. And I know you said you wanted to move off that, but I wanted to go, and I don't know whenever you want to get into the video. I didn't want to. Like I said,
I do. I want to get into the video right now.
Okay, go for it. All right,
I'm gonna get to the video right now. So we talked about all of this, right? I think it's a perfect segue into this video. Perfect. I think this is beautiful. This is what we're gonna talk about now.
I have 2 sons. So let's just say that one day I decide to put my sons in dresses because I want them to carry themselves and behave in a more feminine way because I feel like the world could use a lot more tenderness, a lot more gentleness, and people who understand feminism, who can get in touch with their feminine side. And I just want my sons to be amazing, caring, kind, tender men. But in doing this, I don't necessarily want them to be homosexual. I don't necessarily want them to be attracted to the same sex. I want them to go out and marry women, but I want to make them as feminine as possible. I want these guys to be as feminine as they can be, so that way they can make women around them feel good. They can understand women. They can pedestalize women. They can do all of these things that many women would appreciate in the world today. And then
can I ask you a question real quick? Can you name
Sure.
Can you name one positive characteristic that can be attributed to masculinity? And when I say that, once again, I'm gonna go back to what you said about women being nurturing. Nurturing in and of itself is a positive characteristic, right? There's like how could it be negative, right? You're nurturing, that's a positive, right? So can you give me a standalone positive characteristic that can be attributed to masculinity?
I can give you several. You asked for one.
I just want one. Yeah, just give me one.
Protector and provider. I mean, it's not trying to disregard what you said, but I just threw 2 in there. Protector, provider.
But we're neither, though. It has to be true, by the way. It can't be what you think men should be. What most men are. Most men are not protectors, and most men are
physically stronger. We go there. Then.
I know, and we typically use that strength to harm the people closest to us. So we're not the protectors. We're the predators. Men can't be both protectors. Let me ask you a question. Who are men protecting everybody from?
Excuse me? Huh?
Who are men protecting everybody from?
Well, so I give you a good example of that. My son was at home, and when he was with his mom, they split time with me and their mother. And I was at work, and my son, he was like, mom was out. She was hanging out with her friends. He's like, Dad, I think somebody's in the backyard. Daddy, I don't know. I said, son, stay in the house. Like I said, just don't worry about it. Keep me posted. Keep me calling. I'm driving home from work right now. I get to the house. He was afraid about something was happening in his house. It's interesting that even before that boy called the police, he called his daddy, because there is the natural instinct for the father to protect the child, but there's a comforting presence that I have as father, as being strong physically, as being the male, that brings comfort to the child. He called me before he called the cops, because that actually answers quite a few. Like it answers a.
But who were you protecting?
Real quick, let me finish.
Who was in the backyard, though, Andre? Who's in the backyard? That's all I want to know. Who's in the backyard?
At that point, I don't know. Somebody could have been back there. Somebody could not have been back there. But I show up to the house. Mm-hmm. I show up to the house because my son he's like, Daddy, I don't know what's going on. Like I said, I'm like, okay, well, son, I'm on my way. I'm showing up. Like, we'll figure it out when I get there. Trying to keep him as calm as possible. All right. But again, you would have to ask yourself, what's the reason he called me before he called the police? What's the reason he called this before he called his mother? He called his daddy because there is a comforting presence. And then, let me ask you this too, though. If you had, do you have any single women friends that have children?
Yes.
Okay. When the podcast is over or the broadcast is over, I ask them, like, how often do they pick up the phone and say, "Hey, listen, John, I need you to come talk to your son because he's tripping." But how often does John have to pick up the phone and call mom and say, "I need you to come talk to your son because he's tripping"? It doesn't happen like that.
All the time, and men don't pick up the phone and do that because they have too much pride, but they should do it more. But real quick, so you didn't answer my question. Who are men protecting people, children, women from? Who are they protecting them from typically?
Any danger that presents itself.
I know, and who typically presents the most danger to children and women?
So I'm supposed to say a man presents the most danger?
I'm just asking you, who does it? You're supposed to say what the answer is. What do you do? What is the answer?
So in that, going back to the analogy with my son in the backyard, I don't know who could have been back there. It could have been man. Could have been a woman.
If you had to, I know, but that's why I don't like you using that anecdotal experience. In general, right? Mm-hmm. Who are men protecting everybody from, generally speaking, in the vast majority of cases, which we've already gone down, but I just want you to answer the question.
So males?
Is it not men?
Males?
Men, yes. So if men, you can't be the protectors if you are also the predators. That's number one, right? Number two,
I'm a protector and I'm not a predator.
I'm not saying I mean, okay.
Right. Go ahead.
I'm saying, but men are the predators, though. You may not be, but men are the predators. So you can't be. So as a group, because we're talking about as a whole now,
that's fair.
Men cannot be protectors and predators. Now, also, who interpersonally, who is most likely to harm a child or a woman? We know it's a man, but what man?
You said we know it's a man.
We know it's a man already, but I'm asking what man? So who is most likely to harm a woman? Her husband or a stranger?
In the majority of cases, I wouldn't be shocked if it said a husband.
It is her husband, but it's not even close.
Like when those cases come up, like I said,
not even close. Yeah, not even close. Yeah, right. Okay. Because a stranger ain't gonna abuse you. A stranger might harm you. A stranger might rob you. A stranger might even unalive her, grape her, whatever. But that's rare. Abuse, however, is very common, physical and emotional. Right? Men are more. And who is most likely to harm a child? Their father or their teacher?
That I don't know. Who's more likely to harm a child?
Their father. Yeah, their father.
Okay.
Who is most likely to harm a child? Their mother or their father?
Now, when you say, hold on real quick, when you say harm a child, you talking about like any type of, and I don't know what the buzzwords on YouTube, abuse?
In any way, physically, emotionally, doesn't matter. It doesn't. I was talking about more physical right now because you're talking about protector, which there are many forms of protection. Emotional protection is a huge form of protection, which we know men don't offer any emotional protection for women or kids, right? We know that. But physical protection, which that's what you were talking about, and I'm even just going to have it based around physical protection. Men are not the protectors; we are the predators. The people who are most likely to harm children are the men closest to them. And if it ain't the man closest to them, it's a random man. It's not even close. So there's no argument there for me. You can't say we're the protectors. We're not protectors. What do you mean providing? You're talking about making money? Everybody makes money. Women make money. 70% of married women have jobs. The vast majority of mothers work. The 85% of custodial parents are mothers. Women are providers. So men wouldn't be providers either. And men aren't even good at providing, to be honest with you. They're not. They're stingier with their money. They're less likely to spend their money on the family and other people in the family.
Where are you getting that from? Like, I want you to produce that. Like, if you got those stats and numbers, produce that.
Yeah. I mean, you want me to look it up? Are men most likely who spends more money on their family?
Yeah, I'm here. I was trying to pull something up too, but I don't have to. I'm on my phone. I can't pull it up. Like who? Yeah, like men are more stingy with their resources. Like pull that up, but then also look at like the majority of women prefer to do what though? Prefer to be stay at home. Majority of women prefer what percentage of women prefer to be stay-at-home mothers? Like how does it impact a woman when she has to spend more time working out of the house? Like or ask this: what percentage of the family income would a woman prefer to have to carry as opposed to having to carry 100% of it? I think those are questions that have to be factored in too, though.
I think men want to, which I ran this prompt today. I run it often. Men are only interested in being providers so they can financially abuse women. They're not actually in it to like provide for a woman to take care of her, because most of the time when men are the sole breadwinners, the abuse goes up in the relationship, doesn't go down, right? By every metric. And so women, just so you know, so women tend to spend more on personal care products, healthcare, housing, and transportation, while men spend more on new vehicles, tobacco, and alcohol. Yeah, it's not even close. Like women spend more money. There was also a study conducted. I was looking for it the other day, but I couldn't find it. I read it a long ass time ago. But there was this tribe, there was this community in Africa, right? In this place in Africa. And some people came in and they gave money to the men in the community, right? That had kids and families and shit like that. They gave money to the men.
Yeah.
And they gave it to them for months, right? And there was no noticeable difference in the community, no improvement whatsoever, right? And so they got ready to leave, they got ready to pack it up. They were like, well, that didn't work. Giving these people money doesn't work, right? Then somebody came up with the right idea and said, hey, why don't we give the money to the women? Right? They gave the money to the women, and guess what? Instantly, the community turned around. Instantly, they spent the money on the kids. They invested in infrastructure in the community. They started businesses, right? They did all of these things. They grew the community. The community came together, and they fared better when they gave the money to women. Now, you already said women are more nurturing. What do you think?
Hey, real quick, I didn't mean to cut you up. Where did that money come from again, Prince?
It came from a group of people. It was a group of people. It was an experiment. So like some people came in, they had money, and then they were like, let's see if we can improve this community. And they gave the money to the men, and then nothing happened. So it was white people, obviously. They came in and they gave the money to to these people, right? But when you talk about women being nurturing, what do you think nurturing is? That is a part of being nurturing. Men are not nurturing, not as nurturing as women. I don't think we're nurturing overall, to be honest with you, but we're not as nurturing as women. Nurturing is putting other people's needs before yours as well, which we all know women do before men. So men are more likely to be selfish and not spend money on everybody in the house. Men are more likely to ask. You could look around. How many men have you heard talk about child support and say that they don't want to pay child support? How many men have you heard say that they don't want to that they want the woman to put the child support on a card? Mind you, the average child support payment in this country is like $450 a month. $450 a month.
Yeah, that doesn't seem like an astronomical amount of money.
It's not. It's not enough money.
It doesn't seem like an astronomical amount of money. But then each what is the average, custody time separation agreement looks like? Then there's more details to that. But let me say this though, Prince. There was another study done, and I know we both read a lot about this stuff, and trying to pull it up here at the same time can be challenging. But it talked about like most men work jobs that are higher in risk, like higher in like I said, just like safety risk or whatnot. Like you understand what I'm saying? Like those types of those types of jobs. But here's the crazy thing. So when you say men can be selfish, don't put their needs above the family, well, risking your life to bring home a check for the family, that shouldn't be dismissed. Really think about that for a second.
Nobody told you to do that though, Andre. Nobody told you to work the oil rigs. You don't have to.
That would be like, but I've heard men come back and say that same, and this is what bothers me. So this is where I guess I'm putting myself in your position now. You're putting yourself in mine. That I feel like when I hear men say, "Did nobody tell you to have a baby?" Well, women say we can have babies, and when men blow that off, "Did nobody tell you that baby? That was a choice." I feel like what you're doing is kind of the same thing. It's kind of saying like that man is providing for you. Hold on real quick. If she's birthing your baby, I don't think I could tell a woman, "Did nobody tell you to have a baby?" Well, the reality of it is climbing the corporate ladder isn't what brings women the most joy. And I believe there's studies done on this too. Family is what brings women joy. So I'm not going to say that to that woman. And I think it could be harsh to a man for you to say, "Did nobody tell you to go work in the oil field?" Like, dude, he's taking care of his family. And I happen to live in Texas. The oil field, that's some very lucrative jobs. Prince, I think the oil field jobs here are what the longshoreman jobs were to us back in Long Beach. We knew fellas that worked at the docks. They made good money. That's a good way to provide a life for your family.
Yeah, there's
I
two things
don't
about
know. That's kind of harsh though, man.
It's not. It's just a reality, though. You don't have to do it. Secondly, to have a child, no, the man participated in the process of creating that child. So you can say nobody told you to have a child, but then why did you skeet in her? Nobody told you to skeet in her either. See what I'm saying? So you had a part to play in that. Nobody is making you go risk your life for a paycheck. If you want to do that, that is on you. You do not get cookies for that. You do not get a pass for doing that. That is on you. You do not get a pat on the back. I don't care. Not me, but having a child is a selfless act.
Let me ask you
actually
something.
bringing in another human being in the world as well, and she's risking her life to have a child. That's crazy.
Generally speaking, Prince,
Mhm.
what are women's greatest needs as opposed to men's greatest needs? Generally speaking,
I think we both have the same needs.
it's not identical. Like just generally speaking, what do you think?
I think we
Women's
both have the
greatest
same
need
needs.
is well. No, the way this conversation is going, I don't think we both have the same needs.
I think
I
we
don't.
have the same needs.
I think we do. I think we do. I think we do. There are some similarities, but I think there are certain differences. And I think, generally speaking, I think women desire security, and I think men function on respect. When you say, "Did nobody tell you to go risk your life to go work that job?" Like I said, the officer who takes care of his family, the firefighter who takes care of his family, the man who works in the oil field take care of his family, or any other high risk jobs. Like I think to preach a message where that woman should be any less appreciative and those children should be any less appreciative to a man who's doing that, I think that is extremely hostile, brother. I do, and I'm not saying that's your intention. I'm not saying
that though. I think you're missing what I'm saying though. All I'm saying is that you do not get a pass, right, for being a bad parent or being a bad individual or being disrespectful or whatever the case may be, because you are quote unquote risking your life to make a paycheck. Nobody told you to do that. That's my point. So it doesn't matter. I don't risk my life to make a paycheck. This is what I do for a living. You know what I'm saying? I make more money than any oil rigger. You know what I'm saying? But I ain't risking my life. Now granted,
you're doing this full time now? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
This is what I do full time. So, but that's that's what I do. I get it. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? This shit is like being a rapper, right? You go look up only 1% of people on YouTube make money. So I'm not comparing myself to the average person, but I'm just saying like, it's just, you don't have to risk your life. I was offered a job where I would risk my life. I was offered to work on a fucking fishing boat in Alaska, swear to God, a long time ago. And I thought about it because I was like, oh, I need money. Nobody made you go to the military. Nobody, you go to the military. I ain't got to give you props because you went to the military. I don't care. You chose to sign up for the military. Whatever happens, happens.
But you benefit from what those soldiers do, though.
No, I don't. Not at all. I'm hurt by those soldiers, actually. That's a whole different discussion, though. I don't benefit from the military. Why do I benefit from the military? What are you talking about? Going around that's a crazy statement. No, I don't benefit from the military. I don't benefit from the police department. I don't benefit from this, especially as a black man. I don't benefit from any of this. How do I benefit from this? Makes zero sense to me, right? And we don't need oil, right? We don't need oil. We have created a system where we are falsely dependent on oil. We have a false dependence on oil, the same way we created a system where women are falsely dependent on men, which is the patriarchy. So you created a system where we lock women out of jobs like oil rigging jobs and construction jobs and high-paying blue-collar jobs, right? We lock women out of all of these jobs, right? We pay
because women are dying to do those jobs.
They are. They would be. The same. Are men dying to do those jobs? Because they're not. No. Most men don't do those jobs, so let's be real. But women would do those jobs the same way men do those jobs, right?
If most men would do those jobs and women aren't doing those jobs, then who's actually doing them right now?
What do you mean? Most women,
you said men aren't doing them.
I said most men aren't clamoring to do those jobs. Very few men want to do those jobs, right? So there's a very small percentage of men doing those jobs currently. I'm saying though, of those jobs that are available, if they were to be more inviting to women would do those jobs. Instead, women get locked out the same way black people get locked out. Black people are locked out of construction work. Black people are locked out of positions of power. Black people are locked out of oil rigging jobs. We don't get oil rigging jobs at the same clip as white men do, right? That's just a reality. It's racism. That's why I told you black men will never be at the top of the patriarchy. So as a black man, I find it odd that black men defend the patriarchy in this country. It doesn't make any sense. Now, I know that the patriarchy existed before racism existed. Racism was built on top of the patriarchy. The patriarchy existed before racism. White men saw the patriarchy that black men built, because black men started the patriarchy. They said, oh, that's a good system. We'll take that system. They took the system, they spread it all across Europe, they spread it all across Asia. And then white men said, oh, you know what? How the same way that they use, the same tactics they use to oppress women, we'll use those tactics to oppress children and black people and everybody else. And, that's how we got here.
You know, I'll say this: since you came back and referenced the patriarchy, Prince, and again, I don't know how much more of the video you want to show, but I don't want to get too far off track. But I want to say this: if the philosophical premise of the patriarchy is male authority, I would reference this and even ask what your thoughts on this. There was a study done on 3 types of households: 2-parent, single father, single mother. Mm-hmm. Of all households, 2-parent was the best. What do you think pulled up second? Single father.
The one that made.
And then lastly, hold on real quick. And then the last thing was single mother.
Yeah.
So my thing is, we talked about, and if you look at,
why do you think that is, Andre? Why do you think that is?
Hold on real quick. Okay. Well, because I think male authority. It's just, and this is where I get for, I guess, my spiritual belief too. And I'm not gonna go off on that. Yeah. But like I said, I think where men need to be humble. I also think men also have headship. Men are the final say in the home. Men are the protectors. Men are the providers. And I think healthy masculinity will attract healthy femininity. What I'm simply saying to you though is, if there is a connection in the study between single mother households in prison, then we need male authority in the home.
That's been debunked. Yeah, that study has been debunked. But also, so the reason I read studies on this extensively, and the number one reason for why women why single mother homes fare worse in all 3 is because women make less money than men, generally speaking. In 2-parent households, make obviously there's 2 parents, so you got 2 incomes, and men make more money than women. And also only 15% of custodial parents are men, right? Are fathers. You have to think what type of men are going out here and getting their kids, right? They're typically men who are in decent financial positions, right? Not many broke men are interested in having their babies. It's usually men who make more money. So it's not a one-to-one. 85% of custodial parents are mothers. So you have a larger sample size for women. And in that same study, it wasn't compared between the 3. If you compare financially, single mothers who make the same amount of money as single fathers, there's little to no difference in the outcomes of the children when single mothers make the same money.
I find it interesting too that you mentioned, you question some of the things that I had to say as a black man. He's like, Andre, how can you say that as a black man? Fair. You mentioned that in the conversation.
Yeah.
You know what? Particularly with black families, if we don't keep our families together, our communities don't stand a chance at all anyway.
I disagree with that. I don't think we need to keep our families together necessarily. I think that we need, once again, if you want to, that's great. But I think
60% of black mothers have what's called MFP, multiple fertility partners. I mean, layman's terms, simple put, fathers by multiple different men.
Not 50%. It's not 50. I think it's
59%, sir.
No.
It's 59%, sir.
No, it's not. It's lower than that. It's lower than 50. It's lower than half. Okay. All right, cool. 59%.
It's not. So like I said, these are certain. Hey, you can take my cookout card. You can't come. If we don't fix our families, ain't gonna be a cookout for there. Nobody to come to.
That's because the men need to show up, Andre.
Huh?
That's because the men need to show up.
No,
you're talking about single mothers. What's the common denominator? The common denominator is men are abandoning their children.
Well, no, I'll ask this question. It goes back to it's bigger than that. It's the G word, not gender, government. So like I said, I was listening to something today. I thought it was very interesting. It said that before 1965, black families survived Jim Crow. We survived slavery. We survived horrific treatment, civil rights errors, water holes being sick on us, dogs being sick on us. But our families were more together during that time. after 65, then you get government coming in teaching women you don't need men. The men don't have to come home. There's welfare, and then you see the disintegration of our families begin to trickle down. I think a lot of it is you need mommy and daddy in the home. The study was right. 2-parent homes feel better. You're the product. You're a black man in a 2-parent home. How could you argue against this?
What do you mean?
Prince, let me say this real quick. Prince,
I didn't come from a 2-parent home, bro. I came from a single parent. I came from a single mother home, and my wife came from a single father home.
So Prince. Then you have to be commended. That is incredible. That, like I said, and you've been there every day of their lives. Me, on the other hand, I'm in my kids' lives every day, but my family is broken, brother. Like the realities we're divorced.
But Andre, I'm gonna tell you something. I'll almost guarantee you. I'm sorry because you mentioned yourself. So I will almost guarantee you that you are the reason your family is not together, though. I can all but guarantee you that you are the core. I'm not saying your wife was perfect or your girl or whoever she was. I can almost guarantee you if I talk to you and your wife and I asked her why did the marriage dissolve, she would say
me and my ex-wife.
Your ex-wife. Yeah. If I asked her, you would be the cause of it. Like, let's just be real. I would almost. Am I wrong? She would disagree.
Hold on. Prince, the fact that she would disagree doesn't make you right.
I mean,
the fact that she wouldn't disagree doesn't make you right.
Why would she lie? Why would she lie about it?
Hey, we go back 30 years. Why would I lie to you? Here's the deal.
I can tell you. Easily, I can tell you why men would lie about it. Easily, easily, I can tell you why men lie about it. Men lie about it all the time. I'm being honest with you, brother. You want me to lie or you want me to tell you the truth? Because I don't coddle men. I coddle people.
I think you're being honest about how you feel, but it may not necessarily be rooted in fact.
It's not rooted in fact.
Remember when I first started, I said, generally speaking, if 2 people are involved, 2 people are at fault. There are very few problems that are 200% one person's fault.
I disagree with that 100%.
You're probably going to give me some extreme example, but I'm talking about the relational context. If 2 people are involved, 2 people are at fault.
If a man punches a woman, whose fault is that? Is that both their fault? If a man rapes a woman, is that her fault or their fault? If a man, hold on, I'll keep going. If a man financially, these are not extremes. These are very common. If a man financially abuses a woman, is that her fault? Is that both of their fault? If a man cheats on a woman, is that their fault or is that his fault? See what I'm saying?
Okay.
And these are the biggest reasons why people get divorced. So I'm not understanding.
Let's back it up real quick. Okay, let's back it up real quick. So, like I said, generally speaking, but there are certain exceptions to the rule. So you got to be fair and really, that's why I said we got to bring it in. Listen to what I said. Generally speaking,
who files for most divorces?
80% of divorces are filed by women, sir.
It's not that much, but it's close though, right?
80% of divorces are filed by women.
It's not.
Sir.
It's not. I promise you, it's not. It's under 70, but it's.
I promise you it is. It's not under 70.
It is.
It's not.
Let's say it's 80 though, because it's gonna make my point even better. So 80% of women file for divorce. Okay, 80% of the time women file for divorce, I should say. Okay. And you know the divorce rate ain't 50%, it's like 36%, but people say 50 because they don't know. But so 80% of divorces are filed by women. Fine. Okay. Now let me ask you, logically speaking, if you were on a job, right? If you were on a job and that job treated you fairly, treated you kindly, paid you the money you deserved, didn't pass you up for promotions and all of that stuff, treated you good, what is the likelihood that you would leave that job? Is there a high likelihood or a low likelihood that you're going to leave that job?
If they gave me everything I wanted,
not even everything. I'm just saying they treated you with respect. They didn't pass you up for, you know what I'm saying, for promotions when you felt like you deserved them. They paid you adequately. You know what I mean? All that stuff. Just treated you fairly. Not even everything you were, just treated you fairly. Treated you like a human being. What is the likelihood that you would ever leave that job?
Let's just say 50-50.
You think it's 50-50? I think there's very little chance you leave that job.
Okay.
I wouldn't leave that job. Most people wouldn't, right? Why would you? You're getting raises, you're getting promotions, they're respecting you. Why would you leave the job? Makes no sense.
So let me ask you this, sir. So let's say, for example, I work for Prince Hayes Enterprises, and he did all those things. He paid me well, vacation, this, that, and the other. And then I come to Prince Hayes' Enterprise and say, hey, man, you need to give me more. I deserve more. I'm not happy. And then Prince Hayes' Enterprise says no, and then I leave. Who's at fault? Me or Prince Hayes Enterprise?
You. I would blame you for that. But that's not common though.
So here's the deal. and this is where probably you and I'm confident that divorce.
Hold on, but Andre, that's not common though. That's not common though, right? See what I'm saying? You don't want to talk about outliers, but you want to give me the outlier situation because you know most people aren't leaving a job that treats them with respect and pays them accordingly. Nobody, like very few people. If you started off working a job at 18 years old and they paid you, minimum wage was what was it when it was $5 when we was 18 years old, right? But the job paid you $7.50 when you was 18. Now you are 40 and that job is paying you $50 an hour. You're not leaving that job. Right? That means you've been getting a raise every year. You've been getting 5%, 7% raises year over year, right? Now it's paying you $50 an hour. You're some mid-level manager. You're not leaving that job. That's why people stay at longshoremen's for so long. That's why people do oil rigging for so long. Those jobs they compensate their people really well. They get a lot of benefits, right?
The whole point. What was the point of you giving me the job analogy, though?
My point was this. Most women are not leaving a man that is treating them with respect, that values them, right? That's common sense. We know that. So if 80% of women, if 80% of the time divorces are filed by women, that means logically that men are the cause of the divorce. Because why is a woman leaving a man who is treating her fair? Now, you can talk about the outliers all you want. Fine. I'll go high with that number. I'll give you 10% of the 80% are the women you're talking about that just can't be satisfied. You know what? Screw it. I'll go higher than that. I'll go 20% of the 80% of women that file for divorce can't be satisfied. Fine. That's 1 out of 5. That's high enough. That's as far as I'm willing to go. But that means 80% of the time, those men have failed that woman significantly. He either didn't show up for her, he didn't show up for their kids, he didn't provide well enough, he didn't protect well enough, whatever you want to say. He didn't do these things, and he failed this woman over and over and over and over again, right? And then she finally got tired of it, and she left him. And he doesn't want to learn, he doesn't want to grow.
And because you brought marriage into it, specifically mine, and told me that I probably play a fault in it.
I'm being honest.
Well, no, that's your opinion. That's how you feel.
Bring your ex on. Bring your ex on one day. We can have a discussion. I'll bring my wife. You can bring your ex on. We can have a discussion. If she tell me no, I'll believe her.
I'm going to pay her to come on this broadcast.
I'll pay her to come on.
But here's the deal, Prince. I played a part in it. Yes, I played a part in it. Yes, okay. Yes, I played a part in it. Yes,
who played the biggest part?
But the reality is, okay. If you want to say me, because if I feel like men leads the way, fine. I played a part in it. Now there's parts of our story, like I said, that I probably wouldn't want to tell her unless she was on here. I played a part in that. That's what I'm saying. But I also think though, and you mentioned like man, I almost lost train of thought. But you said like if men aren't showing up and we aren't doing these things. Relationships are about duty. They're not about this obsession and this crazy feeling of happiness. And I think from a place of duty, people develop affection. I'm not quitting on my family. I'm not quitting on my wife or my kids. I've got an obligation to teach my sons to be men. I have an obligation to protect and provide for my wife. I have an obligation to care about, and I do believe protecting her is protecting her emotionally too. I'm not going to treat her, run roughshod over her. But this society that want to make us think that if I'm not obsessing over her happiness, I'm some bum or some. Absolutely, positively.
But that's what she does for you, though. But that's what women. The funniest thing is women obsess over our happiness. And I'm gonna be honest with you. I've said this publicly many a time. My wife has heard me say this. She in the house right now. If my wife ever divorces me, I'll 100% take the blame for it. That doesn't mean my wife is perfect. She's not. She says stuff that gets on my nerves sometimes, and she, whatever the case may be, right? But my wife is not if we get divorced, it is not because of her behavior. It's not because she has failed me or anything like that. It is because of my shortcomings, without a doubt, right? And a reason why I am still married currently, right, is because there was a time in our relationship when my wife was trying to convey that message to me, and I was very reluctant to accept my role in it. I was very reluctant to be like, hey, it was my fault. I was doing what you saying. Oh, it goes both ways. And what about you? And I was gaslighting her, and I was, blaming her and doing all this stuff. And eventually I got to a place to where I was able to actually listen to her. Eventually I got to a place where I was actually able to see what she was saying. I was able to examine myself and look at my role that I played in all of this. And I am able to change and grow because of that, right? And I'm doing it actively. It's happening right now. And that is why me and my wife are still together. If I didn't do that, I promise you, if I didn't do that, I would be divorced too. That's all I'm saying. And most men, if they're honest, they have the same story as me. Whether you got divorced or not, it's the same story. It's I didn't change. I didn't grow. She was asking me to grow. I didn't listen. And finally she got tired of it and she left.
Was your you said she was raised by a single father?
Single father, yep.
Did her mother die?
No, her mama lived right down there. Her mama lived in walking distance of her, right down the street.
And both parents were involved?
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, but her dad was really involved.
But you know what the blessing is? It's interesting though that the parent who stayed, who gave her the ability to have the staying power with you, was her father. I find that to be interesting. That the guidance of her father. I find that to be interesting though. They say it was her daddy. Like she lived. You said she lived with her daddy.
Yeah, like I say, like gave her the staying power though. My wife is stubborn. My wife is stubborn in the best way, right? She doesn't quit. So you're right.
There's some character development there, though. Like I said, somebody the handprint of her daddy on her life.
Andre, not quitting.
It's a huge blessing for you to have had that from her.
It ended up being an advantage for me, but it wasn't an advantage for her because she had to go through years of me mistreating her before I became better. That's not a testament to her, to be honest with you. I love her for that. I respect her for that, but for her, I feel for her as her friend, right? Like looking at it from that perspective, as a person that loves her, I hate that I did that to her, but I also hate that for her. Like, I'm like, damn, that's why I say all the time, if my wife leaves me, even if I'm on the path of righteousness now and I'm doing all good things now, right? If my wife leaves me, I will never blame her. Cause she could leave me for some stuff that I did 10 years ago and I wouldn't blame her. See what I'm saying? She is well within the right to do that for something I did 15 years ago. She can leave me for that. And I'm like, you know what? You got it.
You referenced earlier that your mother was a single mother, but you also referenced your dad. Like what was your dad's involvement? Like, I guess 0 to 100%, like 20% he was involved. 60, where was his involvement?
3%.
Okay. So you were raised completely by a single mother.
Yeah.
And you got a wife that was raised by a father.
Yeah.
And y'all have been able to make it work this long.
Yeah. And the reason why we're able to make this work is for 2 reasons. A, my wife is highly intelligent, right? She's very educated and highly intelligent. She knows how to communicate. Really, she's the best communicator I know personally. That's one reason. And 2 is because I have been able to grow. It's been my ability to grow and my willingness to grow and her ability to communicate and let me know what's going on. So that's what it is. It hasn't been like my mom didn't really give me the tools to be like a good husband or whatever the case may be. Right. You know what I'm saying? She didn't. Right. She really didn't. Right.
She couldn't.
I don't believe that. She could have. She didn't.
She could.
My dad, whoever, any parent could give me, because the tools to be a good spouse is the same for a good a woman or a man. Is having integrity, being nurturing, being patient, so on and so forth. These are all. That's why I said the needs are the same. Men say stuff like they need respect. Women need respect too. But what men confuse with respect is this. Men confuse blind loyalty with respect. They want a woman to not ever challenge him. That's what men want. Men think if a woman ever says, hey, stop doing that thing, that's a problem.
And her mom lived right down the street. And you don't, again, we could be one of those things where, Andre, there's no way in hell I'm saying this on this broadcast. Like, what was the reason her mom and dad couldn't be together anymore?
Oh, I can't tell that story.
Okay, you can't.
That's somebody. I can tell my mama and my daddy's story. I can't tell her mama and her daddy's story now.
That's fine. And that's like, as I said a second ago, like I said with my ex-wife.
That's fair though. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. But yeah, they got divorced. Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But I find it interesting. I just believe that there was something about like her father's influence. Like I said, I stand on that. Like I said, that's probably given her the character to roll with you as long as she could. But I will say this though. I will ask you this, like, how did you not having Like, how did you not having dad for you? How do you feel like that impacted you? And how do you feel like that impacted you in a married context?
I think that my father not being there helped me in a lot of ways, because I think he would have passed on his misogyny, which he is very misogynistic. I think he would have passed all of that shit on to me. And I didn't really get a strong dose of misogyny in my, like, underneath my roof. I got it more from my homies. I got it from TV. You know what I'm saying? We grew up in the city, man. We got it from being, you know what I mean? I was a latchkey kid, you know what I'm saying? We ran the streets, we fought and played sports, and, you know what I mean? We were super aggressive, and I was hyper masculine and all of that shit. So I got it more from them than I got it underneath my roof. Thank goodness. I do think that if my dad would have paid child support, I would have had a much better life. I think that I would have been in a better position. I think, sadly, the biggest contribution that most men can make to their families in the condition that men are in is financial. I wish I could say it was emotional. I wish I could say it was mental, but men are just, we're not healed. We're not nurturing enough. I think men are a net negative when it comes to families. I don't think we're a positive impact on our families. I don't think we're a positive impact on the world. We're not. I think we're a net negative on the world, but specifically in our households, we're a net negative. Yeah, men. You have to understand, every single issue you can think of on the face of the planet, you can tie it back to a man. You think about it. Whatever your biggest problem is right now, a man is behind it. You think about your problem. Think about it. Name it.
Yeah.
Name it. Hey, if you was a genie, hold on. If you was a genie and if I was a genie and you wanted 3 wishes, right? And I was going to grant you 3 wishes. And I asked you, what would be your number 1 wish, right? Most people say stuff like world peace, right? Let's say, for an example, right? World peace. Okay. Who is responsible for the vast majority of the violence in the world? Me. Okay, cool. Let's say I want to solve world hunger. Okay. Who is in control of the resources, the food, the money, the economics in this world? Men or women? Men. So men are in control of that. Okay. I want to be rich. I want to be wealthy. Once again, who is it? Men. Every single issue you can think of, men are at the core of it. Destruction of the planet. Men destroy the planet. The number 1 polluter on the planet is the American military.
I'll say this again: if 2 people are involved, 2 people are at fault. There are very few problems that are somebody else's fault. Now, again, my spirituality obviously impact my worldview, but I don't force and beat that over anybody's head. I genuinely believe, and I think some of it is playing out to this day. I think male passivity and female aggression, I think, are huge issues in our world today. I do. And as I said too, like we talked about the patriarchy, I think this feminism thing, I think can be a huge issue in our world today. So that's why I say, like,
what is feminism? What is feminism?
Let me add what this go-getter mentality. I don't need a man mentality. And if I'm wrong, feel free to correct it. Then actually even Google it. Like I said, I think those are at least 2 pieces of it. Prince, how are we defining feminism?
So feminism is simply it is the belief that men.
Now, give it the same critique that you gave the patriarchy, though. Give it the same critique.
No, I'm going to give you the definition. I'm just going to give you the definition of it, because the patriarchy and feminism are 2. Feminism is antithetical to the patriarchy. It is the cure to the patriarchy, right? Feminism would cure racism. Feminism would cure every ill on the planet right now. That's the thing that men don't, because people don't understand what it is. So feminism is, simply put, it's the belief that men, women, and children should be treated equally and equitably. There's no, I don't know how else to tell you. That's all it is.
Let me know when you're done. I don't want to cut you off. Let me know when you're done. You done?
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you why I'm doing it. You getting ready to run for political office in California? You're gonna take Gavin Newsom's job and this.
No interest.
This is absolutely not.
Zero interest.
I don't know, man. And Google this in your time. Women are more educated, more liberated, and more medicated than they've been at any time in their lives. Again, we talked about this once before. Like I said, it goes back to the video that we were talking about. Like we can, like I said, what women desire is to have family, to have children, and like I said,
Who told you that?
Let me say this real quick. When men look at women, we're not like, dang, look at what she's driving. That whole Neo, she's got her own thing. That's why I love her. That's not what we do. Men aren't impressed with that stuff. If I'm looking at a
Yes,
woman
they
and I'm
are.
like, I am looking at how men are visually stimulated. I'm looking at how beautiful she is. I'm looking at, like I said,
Yeah,
I'm not.
because men objectify women.
Huh?
That's that you're proving my point. Men objectify women, you're right. But men also use women for their resources.
Men
Women,
objectify women. You got to be
yeah,
kidding me. Go
that's just
ahead.
what you described. I think she's beautiful. That's objectification of women. But real quick, so feminism is the belief in social, economic, and political equality of the sexes. It encompasses a range of ideologies and movements aimed at achieving equal rights for women while also benefiting everyone by addressing the most oppressed. That is the definition of feminism. So if you are against feminism, you are essentially against the idea that men, women, and children, right, should be treated fairly and equitably. Period, point blank.
And how does it play out? Like so that definition, how does it play out? Like I said, and I guess these different mountains of culture. Like I said, how does it play out? Like I said, like as far as achieving that goal, what does that look like? That's what I'm asking.
I mean, I think women aren't radical enough. Just like I don't think black people are radical enough. It plays out by women right now is women just disconnecting themselves from dealing with men altogether. Women are just like the 4B movement. Women are just like uninterested in dealing with men. They don't want to have babies. The birth rate is down. They don't, the marriage rate is down. Well, I get actually marriage rate is down slightly.
Yeah, it's being pushed back to the age like that. There's a book. It's called "Marry Him: The Case of Settling for Mr. Good Enough." She talks. She interviews thousands of women. Spoke to a bunch of and just kind of studying women's mentality and men's mentality on relationships. Men can be picky too, but statistically speaking, women can have such high, insane, unrealistic standards sometimes. That's why it pushes back the opportunity for people to have families.
I agree.
Like that. That's why I said, huh?
I think women have high expectations of men, and here's why.
Sometimes
I think that women expect men to treat them the way that women treat men, and men aren't capable of doing that right now. So by that definition, yes, I think women have high expectations of men. I don't think their expectations in reality are higher than what they are willing to give. That's the point, though. To say somebody has too high expectations to me would mean that they aren't willing to give the thing that they're asking for. But women give loyalty. Women give attention. Women give their bodies. Women give their resources. Women are generous. Women are kind. Women are patient. Women are nurturing. And they're asking for that. They're asking for men to reciprocate that. And men are unwilling to do so. And collectively, we are unwilling to do so. So yes, I agree. Women have unrealistic expectations of men. Now, guess what that's breeding? That is breeding a generation of women who know this is too high. It's too much to ask of men. And guess what they're doing? They're not dealing with men. So it is men. It is incumbent upon men to deliver on these things. You have to be a better man if you want women to come back to you. That's the reality.
In some ways, sometimes it just sounds like you're absolving women of personal responsibility in these situations. So I think that's where sometimes you kind of a disconnect.
You can't, but you can never name the personal responsibilities that women hold. I've had this. You have to understand, Andre. Like I said, I do this for a living. I've had this discussion. Everything you said to me tonight, I've heard 1,000 times from 1,000 men. No joke, right? That's why I'm good at these responses. These are like, they're almost pre-programmed. I'm not even, if you watch my platform, I promise you will see. I'll do it live tomorrow. I'll bring a man up. He'll say everything you're saying. Like, damn, you guys, you say the same thing. Like, it's the same trend, right? No different. So I have all these responses. These are easy for me to combat.
Let me ask you a question. Like, let's say, for example, because this is not just a podcast, but it's also like where you giving information, like I said, and there's an expertise to what you're doing too. So let me ask you this. If let's say a bunch of guys, say, hey, Prince, man, help us out. We're trying to find good women. We want to get married. We want to be good husbands. You're a husband. You have a huge platform, and we come to you. We say that, and then let's say, Prince, you know what? Okay, I'm gonna bring a bunch of women in here, and I want you guys to listen to these women, and we're listening to those women, and those women are telling us, what are they telling us? They're telling us what women want, and if us as men, we just disregard everything that they said. We asked you for help. You brought us help. The help told us what they wanted. We blew it off. How would you describe us as men? How would you describe our behavior? I don't want to say us.
I know. How would you just collect? You mean collectively? Yeah, I got you. I would describe you as a typical man. That's what men do typically. Men refuse to listen to women.
Right, but and my behavior would be wrong, right? You can
Oh,
boldly say,
100%. Yeah,
okay.
100%. Yeah.
So Prince, you just said, how is that any different from what you just said? I talk to thousands of men. Men will communicate what it is that they need and desire, but somehow when we communicate what we need and desire, it ain't worth listening to. But if you
Because men
said a
lie more than women, though. But it
oh
doesn't
man,
go
you
both
can't
ways,
put
Andre.
that
I
though.
got but here's the thing. I hate that people act like everything goes both ways. It is not, the world is not equal and the world isn't equitable. So the oppression does not work both ways. Women don't oppress men while simultaneously being oppressed by men. It doesn't make sense. So men have the patriarchy behind them, right? There is a system that benefits men in the short term, not in the long term. There's a system that benefits men in the short term, right? So what happens is men have a built-in reason to lie and protect the system that is the patriarchy. The same way if we were talking about racism with a white person, right? And the same thing. Hey, Prince, bring in a bunch of black people. These white people want to know what can we do better as white people to grow and be better for black people, right? We black people, hold on, wait. Black people tell them everything they need to know. And then the white people turn around and go, nah, I'm not gonna do that. And then a white person asks the same question. But Prince, are you gonna disregard everything we have to say about black people? Absolutely. Excuse my French. Absolutely. I'm not gonna listen to you because you are racist and you have a system that is built on racism. And I'm sorry, you have a system that is built on the idea that black people are lesser than and we don't deserve as many rights as you. And you want to protect that system and you will lie to do so. So that's why I don't listen to men. I run tons of prompts saying, do not validate men's feelings. I do not think we should validate men's feelings. Men are dangerous.
When you say don't validate men's feelings, first of all, men, let me finish. Let me get this. One, men, we live with a fortitude where we don't get to be dictated by our feelings. That's number one. Most men, we don't care to just be like I said, we don't. Healthy manhood, we just don't walk around caring about being dictated and driven by our feelings. Let me finish though. Let me finish. You made a statement a second ago. You said not equal but equitable. Did I get that right?
That's it.
You said we live in a world that's not.
I said it isn't equal nor equitable. It's neither.
Okay. So you said we live in a world that's neither equal nor equal. Can you break that down? Can you give examples of that? Can you break it down?
Yeah. So equality looks like equality says everybody gets $500 a month, right? That's equal, right? If everybody gets $500 a month, that's equal, right? Equity would say, okay, well, what we should do is we should give everybody $500 a month minimum, but we should give people who make, like my mom or my brother, I think they should get $2,000 a month. I don't need the extra $500 a month. It'd be cool to have it, right? But I don't need it. It don't make me none extra $500 a month. But my mama and my brother could use an extra $2,000 a month. Like they need that shit. See what I'm saying? So equity would be them getting $2,000 a month and me getting $500 a month. That's equity.
So two quick questions, and I don't want to get bogged down here because I want to come back to the point that you originally brought up. Well, what's the reason your mom and your brother would need more money? Like what's the reason?
They make less money than me. Yeah. So if I make
less money, should be given more money.
Absolutely. If you make
less earning power.
Yes. If you make less money, you should get more money. That's just the reality. If the government is handing out money to everybody, I would prefer the government you can give me $500, right? I believe in just everybody getting money. Don't get me wrong. UBIs, I'm with UBI, right? But I'm also, look, if you're going to do a UBI, either do the UBI like this, universal basic income. If you're going to give everybody money, you either give everybody $2,000 a piece, or you give me 500 and then you give other people who fall beneath a certain, income level $2,000 a month or whatever, $1,500 a month or whatever the case may be.
So earlier in the conversation, I'm gonna quote you verbatim, and you use the term mythical. With the breaking into the house, you use the term mythical analogy. Thank God the government is just not handing out money, because I couldn't fathom the government just giving people money, and especially if they didn't have a plan to get more money once again,
a black person saying the government not giving, just handing out money is wild. You should. I don't know if you're familiar with the term reparations, but they owe us money, brother. They owe us money, and they owe every American citizen money. Just so you know that they owe, because we built this infrastructure. They hand out money to military contractors. They hand out money to our money. All those medicines that Pfizer makes billions of dollars a year on. That's our money that we paid for that research, right? That money was that those medicines were paid for by our tax dollars, and then Pfizer patented, and now they're selling it back to us for a profit and making billions of dollars. And you're saying that the government doesn't owe us money? That's crazy. Of course, the government owes us money.
Yeah, I don't know. Is there a difference between me saying I'm glad the government ain't just giving money as opposed to saying the government doesn't owe us money?
It's the same thing because they owe us money. They should be just giving us money. They should be just giving us money. Yeah, they should just be giving us money. We should get a UBI. We should get $1,000 a month, every single human being in America, for every child, every woman, every man, and everybody should be able to go to college for free. Everybody should have somewhere to live, and everybody should have access to healthcare. Every single person on the planet, not even just in America. Every person on the planet. Every person on the planet. Yes, absolutely.
Get reparations.
And you being a man of God, right? Saying that Jesus would be in favor. Jesus was a communist. See what I'm saying? So I always find it odd that people who identify as like I'm anti-religion, to be honest with you. I'm against religion personally, right? Because I think people use religion and they bastardize it, right? And they use it as a way to oppress people, right? But you being a man of God saying that you're like, oh, I'm glad the government just ain't giving everybody money. What would Jesus do? Sorry to sound cliche. You think Jesus would say that? You think Jesus would say, I want people to have a business plan? Or you think people would be like, yeah, give everybody $500?
Well, the Bible says man don't work, neither shall he eat. So,
but everybody works though. But everybody works.
Yeah, so again,
my mama worked for 35 years. My brother works. I work. My wife. We all work. What are you talking about? We all work.
So I think, but that's why I asked you to unpack it. I can get angry as a two men who get up and work every day. I get a little anxiety when I think about people just getting free money and you ain't doing there nothing. That's
Andre. That is white supremacy speaking. That is how white supremacists. Okay. I'm not joking. That's literally how white. That is a. You think like a colonizer. That's what colonizers do. I'm not even joking with you. That is literally how they think. They think, oh man, I can. Because what is poor people getting $1,000 extra have to do with you? How does that negatively impact you? Yeah. How is that
coming from, Prince?
From the government.
From our government getting it from.
From us. I'm saying, what do you mean? It's our money.
So you and I are gonna. So again, if my concern was not giving people money who don't work, I got to get up every day and go to work so the government can take money from me to give it to somebody who don't work.
Do it right now, but you don't care about it because you think like a colonizer. You think you just defended the military, who was one of the biggest robbers. They lost $2 trillion 25 years ago, 20 years ago, right? You're not asking where did that $2 trillion go? You listen to Bernie Sanders talk on Capitol Hill about the military budget and how bloated it is, and how they literally just right now, you just was talking about it, how the contractors are robbing the government of money, and no, you're not up in arms about that. But when I say we should give our mothers, our brothers, our sons, our daughters money, you go, oh, that's a bridge too far. You telling me that's not problematic?
I just asked the question, and I'm still struggling with the fact that you got up and you built a platform where you can make your own money.
I would gladly give money to I give money to people who need it all the time.
But that doesn't speak volumes of an opportunity that you have here in a place that we built. We built this place, right?
The place that we built where we're still second-class citizens. Yep, exactly.
You're telling me, and hear me say this, but you're telling me that didn't say something?
Absolutely nothing.
About the opportunity that you have here in this country?
I have zero opportunity. Sir, I would venture. I thought I was talking to my wife about this the other day. I grew up on the west side. I grew up in Springdale. 499 units, about 4 people per unit. So about 2,000 people in my neighborhood, right, at any given time. And I knew everybody, right? I know everybody in Long Beach. We know everybody. I'm in Long Beach, I'm still in Long Beach. I would venture to say that I am financially speaking, I don't know about any other way. I am financially speaking the most successful person in my neighborhood, without a doubt.
You still in the
That's I live in the Wrigley's. I live off of Warlow. So I'm the
Okay.
most, I'm saying of all my friends, of all the people who grew up in my neighborhood, I was in the projects for 19 years of my life. So all those people that passed through, that lived there, I am financially the most successful person in my neighborhood. Now, if I grew up, if I went to an all white school, right? I went to Mini Gant, right, in Long Beach, across the street from Cal State Long Beach, right? When I was in elementary, yep, all white school, right? My mama bust me over there back in the day. She wanted me to get out the hood, all that stuff, right? Cool. That's not the same for my white friends. I'm not the most successful person that went to Mini Gant that I went to school with. Not even close. I know people who are more successful than me. I know doctors. I know a dude that was on TV who's a news anchor. He's a news anchor for like 20 years. I know people. I know athletes that went, you know what I'm saying? I know people that went there, right? That's what I'm saying. This is crazy that it took for me to get on the internet and get in this space where only 1% of people are successful to any extent. And that's what it took. So I'm literally in like the 0.1% of fucking society. And you're like, oh man, that's such a great opportunity. Like, nah, I just got extremely lucky. I hit the lottery.
Let me say this really quickly. And I wanted to say this. I wanted to commend you on this. Man, like you've been this guy since high school. You've always had the different viewpoint, whether it came to music, whatever, everything. This was a long time coming, brother. Like I said, you just now have it's just now our society and technology has advanced for you to be able to do this. And it's huge. Congratulations to you too. Like I said, this is a long time coming. This is like, even the people who couldn't stand your viewpoints, they still log in to watch you. Because when you're doing the thing you were created to do, it's like metal to magnet. People are still attracted to it. So, like I said, there's no luck to it. This is the very thing that
I was lucky though. You just said I was like this when I was like, I was just born like this. I didn't do anything to be like this. I was born this way. Well, I was literally just born this way.
Right. And I'm certainly not coming on.
Hold on, wait. And hold on. Time out. Woo, see? We're gonna bring it full circle. Also, the reason why I am successful is because of my wife. I would 100. I mean, okay, cool. If I'm the talent, I'm the talent. With zero doubt in my mind, if I were single, I would not be in this position, right? And most men who are married are more successful than single men. Most married men are more successful than single men. Married women
live longer too, Prince. Y'all live longer too. As statistically proven.
Married men live longer. We're more, but it's
statistically proven thing.
It's the opposite for women, though.
People married again.
Yeah, I know, but it's the opposite for women, though. Married women don't live as long as married men. Married women aren't successful as single women. Married women are less happy than single women. Married women with children are the least happy group of people. That's just reality.
1 out of 4 women on some type of psych medication. Let's do the study on that, and then maybe
that's because women go to the doctor and men don't. If men went to the doctor and got evaluated, more men would be on meds too. Men are batshit crazy. More men need to be on meds. I need meds.
I think if we're trying to cut this cake, there's so many ingredients. Cook this cake, there's many ingredients to it, Prince. It's not just that because of that. I think a lot of it dig deeper into it. Like I said,
that is what it is though, Andre. If you go look at the numbers, it's literally because more women go get evaluated. Men do not believe in therapy like women do. Men don't believe in helping themselves. They wait for women to help them. That's why men self-delete. That's why men kill themselves more than women. Well, women attempt suicide more than men. But men actually succeed more than women, technically speaking.
And another reason why we need empathy for men in society, but we'll move on. But what I'm saying to you is, you peel back.
Wait. I have empathy for men. I do. I just don't coddle men. I have empathy. I just don't coddle men.
And then remember, I'm the advocate of I don't think men want to be coddled. So we're saying the same thing.
Men, trust me, sir. Men only want to be coddled. My platform is 100% proof of that. Men come on my platform every day, Andre, and tell me to talk nicer to them. Literally. That's what they want. They can't even argue with my points anymore. They gave up. They just come on my platform and say, man, but it's just how you talk about us, man. And I'll be like, what the fuck? Y'all was sitting here Y'all sitting here doing this shit when Kevin Samuels was calling women big back, silverback, gorilla broad bitches and hoes and shit. Y'all was up here going, yeah, Kevin, get him. But then I don't even talk like that about men. I'm honest about men. Kevin Samuels up there lying about women for 5 years. Y'all was up there, Kevin Samuels, daddy, Uncle Samuels, we love you, daddy. Yeah, get those women. It didn't matter what he said about men. They was like, yeah, go get them women. We don't care. Long as you bash women, we gonna support you, right? I don't bash women. I don't lie about women. I don't lie for or against
for
women.
3 years before he said anything to a woman. But I didn't agree with everything he might have said. But I don't think he just outright telling lies.
Kevin Samuels was lying. He was lying. He was lying through his fucking teeth. That's why he in the dirt. We don't care nothing about Kevin Samuels.
Come on, man.
Kevin Samuels told a black woman. First of all, Kevin Samuels said black women are less physically attractive than white women. Kevin Samuels said that.
I never heard him say that.
I heard him. I know. No. People who tend to like Kevin Samuels never heard him say the things that I've heard him say. But I heard him say all of these things because I have the recordings. Kevin Samuels also said he told a black woman, he told a black woman that she shouldn't believe her daughter if her daughter says that, if her daughter comes to her and says, your husband, my stepfather, touched me, you shouldn't believe the daughter, you should believe the husband. You should prioritize the husband over the daughter. So that's your Kevin Samuels. So he's disqualified from anything being good or decent about him. He was a terrible man. He was a grifter too. He literally sat in his car one day and said, I know that if I start bashing women, my views and likes will go up. Because he usually didn't talk about women. He used to talk about men. Talk to men about men, right? He do what I did to a certain extent. Then he literally sat in his car one day. He had an epiphany. You saw the wheels turn. He said, man, if I start talking about women, the likes and views will go up if I start bashing women. And then he did. He put on a suit, and the rest is history. So it was all a grift. It was all a game, right? I don't feel bad for that man dying because he was an idiot. Because I saw him drink a fucking Red Bull every night, and I was like, what 50-year-old man is out here drinking Red Bulls? What the fuck are you doing?
That was. And that wasn't good. That's what I believe a lot of his death was. I don't think it was controversial. Like I said, I can't. But like I said, the Red Bull didn't help. Dog.
His death was caused by Red Bull. Like if you trace it back, he had Red Bulls in his kidneys. That's what happened to him.
But I think, and I wanted to go back to this really quickly though. When you brought up not equitable or equal. I wanted to go back to this and try to jog your memory on something. What was the reason you brought that up, though? It was a point that you made. It was something that we were saying.
I was talking about feminism,
like in how, like, yes, we were talking about feminism.
Yeah, and I was saying that things don't go both ways. So you know what I'm saying? The world, like when you try to say like, oh, women, it goes like there's two people in a relate. Like, here's what I'm saying. It doesn't make any sense to me because if a child is abused. It's not both. It doesn't go both ways. If a black man is unalived by the police, it doesn't go both ways. If a black woman is unalived by the police, it doesn't go both ways. If a black person is locked out of a job, it doesn't go both ways. If a man abuses a woman, it doesn't go both ways. That's all I'm saying. That's a weird statement. You're victim blaming. And if you look it up on the wheel of abuse, if you look it up, the wheel of abuse, that is one of the ways that men abuse women is they blame the victim. They blame the women. They say, well, what did you do? They don't take her claim seriously. They deflect. They diminish. They minimize. Right. And I'm not saying you're doing this intentionally, but this is a function of the patriarchy that is taught to men. This is how you protect the patriarchy. You blame women. You say, hey, it goes both ways. When it doesn't go both ways. It goes one way.
I want to be very clear on what my verbiage was, Prince. I said, generally speaking, if two people are involved, two people are at fault. Are you saying that's the same as saying it goes both ways?
Yeah, it's the same because it's
okay.
not that.
There was another point in the conversation when you asked me. You said in regard you and you name all these examples like so a woman being raped is and then you said a woman being punched in the face. This that and you gave all those examples. Well, okay, so again, I was talking to a friend of mine. They were in a situation where he and his wife was arguing. She just had very just poor emotional management. He was sitting on the floor. They were arguing. He was just kind of there, dejected. She kicks dude in his face.
Okay. He
got up and he hit her too. I think it's wrong, but I think it's wrong she kicked him in the face too.
I think it's wrong she kicked him in the face.
So that's what I'm saying. Like in that situation,
Mhm.
In that situation, I think that I think that she was wrong too.
But that's not common though. That's what I'm saying. That's not
Right,
common,
right,
believe it or not.
right.
So I'm
Like
not,
I said,
I'm not saying, once again, I don't speak in absolutes. So I'm not
right,
saying that women are never to blame. I'm saying I like to focus on the masses, not the asses, right? So
right.
I'm saying
Same here.
that
Right.
in the vast majority of cases, like even when women cheat, the reason why women cheats is typically connected to the behaviors of the men in the relationship. Whereas when men cheat, it's not. Men cheat just because it's Tuesday. Men cheat
Right.
just because he saw a fat booty. Women
So,
cheat because this man been abusing her for 5 years. And she like, all right, I'm out on this relationship. And she cheats on him,
right, right.
right?
But what I'm saying is that when I made that statement, and then you gave that example,
Mhm.
and you were like, "Hey," it was like, "Gotcha." Well, that's not the gotcha. Sometimes that does happen. Again, I remember I made the statement. The exception can't be the rule. But like I said,
But
but
that's
I
what
would
you're doing though. Yeah,
I cert.
but you're giving me the exception though. The
No, no,
exception
no,
is what
no.
you're giving me though. I'm not giving you the exception.
I'm saying when I made the statement,
Mhm.
generally speaking, two people are fault, two people are fault. That's true. And
That's
then
just not true.
you came
It's
and
just
hit me
not
with the
true.
gotcha on that example. I'm saying, and I seriously doubt. Like I said, and I'm not saying, listen, there's the majority, there's most, and there's many. So, for example, if we're in a room, Prince, and there's 100 people in the room,
Mhm.
the majority is what 51.
51%.
So the majority of the people in this room had some crown apple. That's the
Mhm.
majority of people. The majority of the people like crown apple.
Yep.
Many people, like 20 can be many.
Yep.
Many people just wanted to have Dos
Many,
Equis. You see what
many
I'm
is
saying?
subjective. Yeah, many is subjective. Mhm.
Yeah, majority, most, many, right?
Mhm. Well,
Uh,
most and majority are the
what I
same,
was
by the
saying,
way.
yeah, they're the same. That's
Vast
fine.
majority would even be subjective, but if you said vast
Okay,
majority, you would
vast
start thinking
majority is
around like
80.
75,
80.
80% of people. Yeah, that's what you would say,
So
right?
what
Yeah.
I'm saying is, if 30% of people in domestic violence situations are men getting kicked in the face, well, hell, that deserves some kind of attention, does it not?
It's
That's what I'm
not, I mean,
saying. Huh?
okay. So it's if you look at the rates of DV or IPV, it's
And
not
I'm not,
30% of the time women are responsible for it, right? And it doesn't go both ways. Like that study that men like to pull from, it's been debunked. It's on the same side, like it's been debunked. It's not a real thing. The vast majority of the time, interpersonal violence is perpetuated by men. It's not even close. That's what I'm trying to tell you. It's not 30% of the time. It's not close. Not 20%. It's not close. The vast majority of women are not laying their hands on a man. That's just a fucking reality. It's just reality. They're not, right? And also, even in the instances when women lay their hands on men, the vast majority of the time it is a reactionary abuse, as they call it, which is they are reacting to the abuses of a man. Like in the movies, right? A lot of times in shows, right? This is an example. A lot of times in shows, you see where a woman is she gets cheated on, right? And then she slaps the man, right? Now you can say, "Oh, that's bad and that's terrible and all that stuff." That's fine. Okay, cool. But getting cheated on is extremely abusive and extremely triggering, right?
he
And to
said,
your point, hmm,
Mhm.
yeah. So and what you said earlier about men being bigger, right? We have in most cases, we have the responsibility to not hit that woman back. So if she slaps me for cheating on her, I was the cause of her slapping me. Not, hey, should she have done it? Nope. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh, that was cool. I'm just saying, let's be real. Her slapping me ain't the end of the fucking world, right? It
and,
wasn't the worst.
yeah,
Huh?
and it's, but she slap you for not listening to her. That's just
That,
atrocious. That's
that's atrocious. Her
yeah,
slapping me because I
I don't know
cheated
what
on her.
yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like the worst of the two situations there was me cheating on her. It still was worse than her slapping me. You see what I'm saying? So I can easily walk away from that. Even if she slapped me for not listening to her, I'm not fucking laying my hands on her. But you know what I'm saying? It is what it is, though. I would definitely be like, no, she's wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like 100%. You're not listening to her, you're wrong. Like, don't like, what are you doing slapping him? Whatever, right? Cool. But if she slaps you, okay, I can understand that. Fine. Women are typically reacting to some form of abuse from a man. Men are not reacting to a woman abusing him. Men are calculated, abusers are calculated in how they abuse women. They isolate women, right? They do they gaslight women. They do tons of things. They do tons of things to abuse women physically, right? They emotionally abuse a woman before they physically abuse a woman.
I agree with that. Yeah,
right. That's
agree
what
with
I'm
that.
saying.
Yeah, and
It's just not.
and it's
just not the same thing.
I agree, and I wasn't saying that. I'm certainly not dismissing that. We ought to know better because we are bigger, we are stronger. I wasn't saying that, but I'm saying my thing is I'm very passionate about people taking responsibility for behavior. That's all. That's the point I was trying to convey.
Okay,
and
men need to take responsibility. That's my point. I'm with you.
Yeah, I feel like I said, we have sons, and so one day our sons get married. I want them to be in situations where a woman is kind, honest, and generous with them as they are with them.
Yeah, I'm not even worried. Yeah, and I'm not even worried about that. I'm not like I have a son, and I'm not stressed out about the type of woman he marries or meets or whatever. I'm 99.9% sure he is going to be able to find a woman that treats him. I would hope that they treat each other the same, but more than likely she's probably going to treat him better than he treats her. I'm not even worried about that. I'm pretty sure that I'm very, very confident in that. If I had a daughter, though, I would be very concerned about my daughter dating any boy. And I'm not a controlling parent at all, but I would be very, very concerned because I know I would almost guarantee that my daughter is going to suffer some form of abuse dealing with men at some point in time. I would be highly concerned about that. For my son, I'm not worried about that at all. I don't think he's going to ever suffer abuse from a woman. His mother doesn't abuse him. I don't abuse him. I think he'll be perfectly fine. I highly doubt a woman's going to cheat on him. I highly doubt a woman's going to lay her hands on him. I highly doubt a woman's going to gaslight him, emotionally abuse him, financially abuse. I highly doubt any of these things.
It's interesting, man, because I believe you attract what you are too. So if I'm healthy, I'm going to go attract what I would say this, and it's not all the time.
That's victim blaming. That's victim blaming.
Exception, huh?
That's victim blaming in another thought.
Except there are exceptions to the rules. I'm not saying that's all the time. What I'm simply saying though is it's interesting though that if you had a daughter though, and you said the same thing about your daughter, because me and my wife love him well, like he's cared for, nurtured. I'm paraphrasing what you said. You're confident 99% that he's gonna go out there and find he'll be in a healthy relationship. But you would.
Oh no, I'm not. No. I'm not confident because of how we raised him. I'm confident because most women are better than most men in relationships. See what I'm saying? So I'm confident that my son it's really easy to meet a decent woman. It's very easy to meet a woman that ain't gonna lie, ain't gonna cheat, ain't gonna steal from you, ain't gonna beat you, ain't gonna manipulate you, so on and so forth. The bare minimum shit, right, that you would expect from any human being in a relationship. It is very, very easy to find women who meet that criteria. Will she be the most attractive? I don't fucking care. Will she be the best communicator? Probably not. You know what I mean? Whatever the case may be. But will she lie, cheat, beat? You know what I'm saying? Gaslight, manipulate? None. Fine. Easy to find a woman like that. If you flip that around, that's not the case for me. Most men are like that. Most men are manipulative. Most men are gaslighters. Most men are abusive. Most men are neglective. Most men, the vast majority of men. It's hard to find.
Like, what are you basing that on again? That most men are liars, manipulators, gaslighters. What are you basing that on again?
Every single study. And this is what I just got done making a video about this, about how men lack the ability to have abstract thought, right? So if you look at this in its totality, there is no study that would say this thing that I'm saying, but I'm quantifying all, I'm synthesizing all of these studies, and I'm just giving it to you in a more dumbed down version. I'm just saying, if you look at studies, right, men lie more than women. Men are more abusive than women. Men cheat more than women. Like, these are different studies that all point to this one thing about men. You will not find a study that says women are more abusive than men in any way, shape, or form. You will not find it. Doesn't exist. That's what I'm trying to tell you. No study says that. right? So based on that logic, I am going to go out on a limb and say that that most men are abusive. If most women are abused, then most men are abusive, right? Logically speaking, if most women have been abused in some way, shape, or form by men, that means being cheated on, neglected, emotionally, whatever the case may be, right? Financially. If most women have been
That's a
abused,
study too, where most women have been abused. That's a study
absolutely
too.
most women have been.
Most
Yes,
women
there are
have been.
many studies that point. Yes, there are many studies that point to this. That's what I'm saying. There's not
Put
one
them,
study that
put
says
them in
this.
the chat after this. Like it'd be good for your viewers to see it. I'm gonna come back and look at it too. That
Yeah,
most women have been
one
abused.
out of four women are one out
Majority
of
have.
1 out of 4. If most men cheat, right? If most men cheat, then most
That's
women
a
have been
study.
cheated on.
That's a study.
I know that's a study. Most men cheat. So if most men, listen to what I'm saying, Andre. If most men cheat, then most women have been cheated on, right? Because who are they cheating with? Who are they cheating on?
It's hard to argue that.
So
it's hard to argue.
Cheating is abuse. That's what I'm saying. Just on
Yeah.
that alone, I've already proved that most women have been abused.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm saying what you're saying, okay, is compelling. I'm saying you say you have data and stats to back that up. That's what I'm asking.
Yeah,
Facts.
that's what I'm just saying right now. Hold on. I just use one stat just to prove it, right? Just because I know that we all know this. So once again, if we know statistically most men cheat or most men have cheated, not most men cheat, but most men have cheated, right? If most men have cheated, then that means they have cheated on most, like that's just logic. They have cheated because who did they cheat on? Even if
Right.
however you do the math, most men, like, you know what I'm saying? Like what the same men cheated on the same woman over and over and over again, maybe, but more than likely they cheated on different women. That's the logic there, right? So we can pretty much surmise from that most women have been abused. Okay, cool. 1 out of 4 women have been sexually assaulted in their lifetime. Minimum 1 out of 4 women. That's right.
In
Minimum.
the majority of cases have been men that have done it.
98%, yes, are done by men. Yeah, 98%.
Okay.
Right. 1 out of 5 girls are SA.
Fight the source. That's what I'm saying. If you can put it in the chat.
FBI. For that one, FBI will tell you that. Yeah, about the rate of abuse. Most men. I had it on here, but there was a study done about men lying. Women are more perceptive than men. Women lie less than men. And yeah. So there you go. It goes on and on and on. And it's not really that hard to believe if you actually understand men and you understand women. Like if you understand the psychology and how we are programmed, it's really not that hard to believe. It's super easy, actually. Right?
Going back to that, you triggered something that we said in the conversation earlier, and specifically with divorce. And I was looking at divorce, and there's different reasons. 80% are filed by women, infidelity and refusing to do household stuff and stepping up.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting. The CDC did a study that said that most black fathers are more involved than any other group of fathers than any other race. And I thought that was interesting. I thought it was to be commended. It's celebratory, right? Like I said, as 2 black men sitting having this conversation, yeah,
No.
that most black fathers
That's celebratory. Why?
That most black fathers are more involved.
To be the best of the worst. To be the best of the worst. Why? Because men are the worst. Fathers are the worst. But are most fathers as involved as most mothers? And the answer is no. So men still fall short. So we're the best of the worst. First of all. Second of all, it's of black fathers that are in the home, which we know most black fathers aren't in the home.
I don't know if that's what the study said of CDC. It said most black fathers.
That is what it said. I've read that. I did a video on that. I did that like 2 years ago. Because a bunch of black men kept citing that study, and I was like, let me read it. And I read it, and I was like, oh, so this is saying that when black men are in the home versus when white men are in the home versus when Latino men are in the home versus when Asian men are in the home, black men are more involved. Great, salute, cool, fine. But we are not in the home as much as these other men are.
Then that's really interesting. I guess I got some more studying to do, because if one of the reasons why 80% of divorces are filed by women is because men don't step up and help much. But when we're in the home, we're doing what we're supposed to do. And 60% of black marriages end in divorce, with 90% of those divorces being filed by black women. Dang, man. That's why.
So you missed what I said, though, and that's what I'm saying. Just because we're not doing what we need to do, just because you're comparing losers to losers. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Men are the losers in this case. because you have to compare men to women. You would have to compare fathers to mothers, right? So if the mothers are still doing exponentially more work than the fathers, then it doesn't matter if the fathers are better than other fathers, because you're not in a relationship with the father last time I checked. You're in a relationship with the mother, right? So it doesn't matter that you're doing better than the dads. You're still far behind the mothers. That's what I'm trying to tell you. I would never compare myself to other men, right? I'm better than most men. I know that. That's not, I don't pat myself on the back for being better than most men. I don't feel any pride in that whatsoever.
But as a man, you measure your manhood based upon the woman that you're next to.
I bet, yes. Because it ain't about being a man at this point. It's about being a human being, about being a parent. I compare me to my wife, right? And not a competition. It's just like, okay, look at how much more my wife is doing. I need to help her out more. I need to do more. I need to be more proactive. That's the goal. It's not to be, oh, well, I'm better than Andre. Right? Because by default, I probably am better than you. I'm in the home with my kids. So by default, I already beat you. I already beat my daddy. I already beat my brother. I already beat my brother's daddy. I already beat, you know what I'm saying? I beat a bunch of men by default because I'm in the home. So I already won that race. See what I'm saying? But so why am I? That's such low hanging fruit. I'm better than a man. I'm better than a father. I don't care about being better than a father. Fathers don't show up. They don't show up. That's the reality, right? I would never be happy to be called the best man on the planet. That wouldn't make me feel, there would be no sense of pride. There is no, I get that all the time. Trust, I get it all the time, man. Oh, public, you're such a great man. And and I'm like, yeah, okay, fine. It does nothing. It doesn't, my ego doesn't get stroked. I don't feel like my wife is lucky to have me or like nothing like nothing.
I think there's a difference between fishing for compliments and just fact checking. And if men are doing well, then they're doing well. But I do believe if the same way we can celebrate women for who they are and oh, you go girl, and this society that's just, hey, you go girl, queen, mother God, this, that, and the other, you can tell a man that he's doing a good job.
Mm-hmm.
And I just do.
You can't tell a man he's doing a good job. I don't mind that. I'm just saying, me personally, that don't move my needle. Right? I'm not saying I don't respect him. I'm not saying don't tell him. That's fine. I'm just saying, like, I know I make sure that doesn't get filed or that doesn't get put in the ego bank, right? Like, I let that go. It's in one ear and out the other. Great, cool. Right? I would take that more. If my wife told me that, it would be, you know what I'm saying? Because she's in it with me. So if she tells me, you're a great father, I love the way you're stepping up, I appreciate you, then that's when I'm like, all right, cool. I'm coming up, right? Because she's not comparing me to other men. I know that. She's not comparing me to some, you know what I mean? She's not comparing me to some random mythical dad out there. She's comparing me to her. She's like, look at all the shit that I'm doing. Is he fucking keeping up with me? No, then I ain't gonna give him no pat on the back. And I respect that. If I start to keep up with her and I start keeping pace with her and she start going, oh, you doing great. Then I know I'm on the right track. Simple as that. It ain't rocket science, man. Men overcomplicate this stuff though because of our egos. We just don't want to, we don't want to accept our roles. We don't want to accept our real position. We have an inflated sense of ego and self-worth. And I don't. I try not to. I'm sure I do, but I try not to. I fight it every day.
I mean, actually, I want to say this, and I'm getting ready. I got to get ready to get to it. I want to first of all appreciate you for letting me come on your platform.
Man. You video, man.
Yeah, you loaning me your influence. I thought that was great, man. You got quite a bit of following. Mm-hmm. There's a question I wanted to ask you in leaving. What would you say the premise of your platform is? Like, what do you and like I said, and I don't invite myself nowhere, but if you ask again, come back, break down a video. I'm here. I'm sure you got a long list of talent people coming on here, but what would you say is the premise of the public offender? Like,
what's my goal? So my ultimate goal is I tell myself as an anti-red pill. So essentially I'm anti-misogynist. I am a gender abolish. Gender abolish. I don't think gender is a real thing. Like, I don't think that race is a real thing. I am here to deconstruct and unpack, not only help people unpack their misogyny like other men, but I'm also here unpacking my own misogyny and deconstructing the patriarchy and misogyny. I want men, women, and children to be treated fairly and equitably. I want trans folk to be treated fairly and equity. I want homosexual people to be treated fairly and equity. I want everybody to be given the space to be the best version of themselves. And I used to do a lot of politic, like electoral politic stuff, and I'm not interested in having those conversations anymore, right? Me personally, I've gotten to a place when I saw what I saw, I was like, oh, this is where it's at. It's really rooted in, because the thing, the downfall of the Black community has always been Black men siding with white supremacists. That's always been the reason why we ended up failing as a community. The reason why America has been unable to, rectify its mistakes from its past is largely connected to misogyny and the patriarchy, right? Like I think women deserve reparations, right? The same way I think Black people deserve reparations. I think women deserve reparations in this country. I think children deserve reparations too, because we've been mistreating children in this country since its inception, right? Children are treated terribly in this country. They're abused. Nobody speaks up for them. Nobody protects them, right? Their first bullies are their parents. Like, it's ridiculous, man. We don't even see kids as human beings. So, that's all rooted in the patriarchy. All of that comes from the patriarchy. None of that exists without the patriarchy.
And we say we don't see children in that regard. Is that society in general, or just specifically one group of folks? Just society.
No, I mean society. I mean, so I think that men don't see children as human beings. Women see children as human beings, but women are also impacted and affected by the propaganda, right? So women also could be susceptible to not treating children as human beings, but more women treat kids as human beings than men. Like men, most men don't treat kids like human beings, right? Like you said it in your video. You said you want to pass on your legacy. Your kids are not your legacy. Your kids are your lineage. Your legacy is what you do. Your legacy is your money. It's the impact you make. It's your charitable actions and things of that nature. That's your legacy, right? Your lineage are your kids. Right? So my dad, he has a lineage. He doesn't have a legacy. Right? I don't have a relationship with my dad. His legacy is a negative one, if anything, but he doesn't have a positive legacy, right? I mean, we all are gonna have a legacy. It's just how long it lasts, right? But yeah, you're gonna have a legacy. It's just, is it gonna be a positive or a negative one? Not all of us will have a lineage.
I guess we disagree on that. I think for me, legacy is the impact and the influence after you're gone. And so my impact and my influence will be felt through my children. So that's a part of my legacy. I just believe it's not just money and resources. It's also like, when I die, I give them my mind, my money, and my morals. Daddy taught me how to people. Daddy taught me how to problem solve. Daddy taught me how to have a work ethic. So, and that, that's like, man, like, oh man, those white boys are man, they're sharp. Little Andre and Aaron are sharp. They did it, like I said, or like this strong men. They're example of what men should be. So I think it's both. I think it's that impact and influence.
I'm gonna read your definition. So legacy, the first definition is, like I said, is literally money. An amount of money or property left to someone in a will. That's a legacy, first and foremost. Legacy is not a person. First and foremost, let's establish that. Number two, the long-lasting impact of particular events, actions, etc., that took place in the past, or of a person's life, right? Okay. So the example that they gave is he left us a rich legacy of buildings, right? Not of people, of buildings that are both innovative architectural creations and genuine works of art. That is what a legacy is, just so you know, right? The legacy of centuries of neglect, like you now, I agree though. I'm fine with you thinking about it like your actions, which that's what I'm saying. Your legacy are your actions, not your children. They're your actions, right? The teachings you leave your kids, that's your legacy. The teachings you leave them, not your kids themselves. That's what I'm saying, right? So your kids aren't your legacy. Your kids are your lineage, and what you do is your legacy. What you leave to them, that's your legacy. Whether it be, gems, jewels, right? The mental kind, or physical gems and jewels. That's your legacy. right? Not who they are, though. My son is not my legacy. I'm not living vicariously through my son. He's his own person. He has nothing to do with me, as far as I'm concerned.
I'm not living vicariously through mine either, but that's interesting. I'm gonna look into that a little deeper, man. I think it's interesting, but I do think if they're my teachings, who's going to carry out your teachings? Your boys, right? Your
Yeah, I mean,
son.
they're gonna embody. Yeah, I think my legacy on my kids is my approach to parenting is to make sure my kids they don't experience any trauma. You know how people say, oh, we all have trauma. I try to protect my kids from all trauma, if that makes sense, right? Like I'm saying caused by me, at least. Caused by me and caused by their mother. I try to protect them from all trauma.
That's definitely a worthwhile endeavor, brother.
That's my approach to parenting is make sure my kids are not affected. Like I don't cause them any trauma. I don't want them to be sitting on some lady's couch. My son talking about what his daddy did or didn't do. He neglected me. He didn't listen to me. He beat me. He da-da-da-da-da. I want my kids to go in there and be like, the world is crazy. You know what I'm saying? I got to deal with these racist motherfuckers. Like, that's fine. Go talk about all of that. I get that. I don't leave me and your mama out of it, though. You know what I'm saying? If we didn't do nothing, that's what I'm hoping for. That's my aim, right?
I respect that tremendously. We see, hey, with many things we disagreed on tonight. I think that's one.
Let's end it on that. That's a good way to end it. Hey, I appreciate it, brother. We came here. And you know what I'm gonna do? I appreciate you coming on, man. I love you. I'm gonna have you on for sure. And this time we're gonna start with your videos, okay? Because we still gotta get those.
Whenever you hit me again and message me, I'm coming. We'll start with the video. We lock in and get right to it.
Okay, let's do that. I love you, man. Love you, man.
Hey, man, thank you, man. Like I said, much love and respect, fam. It was good to see 30 years, man. It's been a minute.
It's been a good time. Been a good long time.
But I keep doing what you're doing, man. Like I said, your platform, like this is purpose, man. Like this is you. You know, like I said, moving in the thing that you gifted to do. Keep doing it, man. Keep inspiring people. Let's keep having some civil debates along the way. But like I said, keep informing people, man. And like I said, appreciate you. Thank you for loaning me your influence for the past 2 hours and 36 minutes.
No problem, brother.